came out with a condom on. And after he finished, he went through his security measures, flawed as they may be. His intent was to secure.
Let's assume that she is just a 24-year-old IG thought, all right? No education to speak of or anything like that. Just 24-year-old IG model trying to make it, right? She's making $25,000 a year. My question was, would other women see this and see this as the play? Say, hey, I am willing to undergo 15 minutes of vaginal irritation for $100,000.
I can punch all kind of holes in what you think is proper and what has been told to me. I can punch all kind of holes. I'm just saying. I'm not saying you're not right. I'm just saying there are many ways that men have been told to dispose of a condom.
We're not talking about men. We're talking about. We're talking about Drake.
Okay, well, we're all equal to the law, Lee.
This man, there was $4.3 million in that condom. You're supposed to wrap it up.
Lady Justice is blind. We're all equal under the law, Lee. We're all equal under the law, Lee. He did what he did. All you do is type in proper condom disposal. Where men talk this stuff. He did everything he could think of, whether it was right, wrong, or indifferent, to protect himself. And we're telling men that ain't good enough. Then you need to tell men what is good enough.
But that's interesting, though. Okay, I see what you're saying. That's interesting. When you pulled it up and it said to wrap it up and put it in tissue paper and throw it away, fair enough. I'll introduce that into evidence.
Conserve energy future.
Where did it
biodegradable?
Where did it say though that before you put it in tissue paper and before you wrap it up, you spike it with Tabasco hot sauce?
What is good, people? Oh, shit. It is good to be back. It is good to be back, man. I missed y'all. I missed y'all so much, man. I know it was only yesterday since we had our live stream, but, man, you guys won't believe it is Wednesday, and we gonna have ourselves a discussion, people, because there's a lot of stuff for us to cover. And real talk, it's not really that serious. I'm just gonna make that be known right there. It's a conversation. In retrospect, is it not that serious? But in the sense of the manosphere and the conversations that were brought up in channels with like the lead attorney, which we're going to be covering today, there was some interesting discussions brought up, all right? And it kind of goes hand in hand with some of the things that we've been talking about accountability and things being equal and fair under the eyes of the law. Well, I thought that'd be a great idea to cover that said debate that happened today on this stream. Who was right? All right. Was it lead attorney? Was it Kevin Samuels? Who and you guys? All right. Even you guys watching this right now who heard about the Drake story. Who in your opinion do you guys believe should be who was in the right in this place or is in the wrong? All right. Is it the IG model that decided to want to impregnate herself? Okay. With Drake's Tabasco seed, or was it Drake's situation? Oh, hang on 1 second. My cam turned off. Too excited. All right. But was it Drake? All right. Was it Drake's fault for hold up? What is going on with my mic camera? Hold up 1 second, guys. Is it Drake's fault? Is he responsible? All right, because that particular stream, that particular debate represented two sides for me, all right? And those two sides represent two different thought process and what people feel on this particular situation that happens, all right? On one side, people do believe, hey, listen, Drake, you should have flushed that shit, all right? You should have flushed it. What are you doing? What are you talking about, man? You already know how these girls do. You are Drake, all right? And others are like, you know what? Screw that shit. It's her fault. It's my house. It's my crib, my place, or my seed. It is my seed, and I choose what I want to do it. All right? All right, I toss it in the trash. I can throw it on the floor. Shit, I can throw it in that tissue. It don't matter. Matter of fact, I can pop something in that sock over there. It don't matter. It's my seed, and she don't have the right to go over there and take my seed and insert it into herself. And that means if I have the right to put hot sauce in my stuff, all right, then I'm gonna do it because it's my seed. And those guys belong on that corner over there. And now these two sides, all right, this particular debate, you would say that lead attorney, if you guys, those of you guys who caught that live. All right, you would say that lead attorney kind of represented the other side in terms of, hey, listen, Drake, you are responsible for this, okay? You are responsible. Matter of fact, I might even go to insinuate that you may have done this on purpose. Hey, listen, that was said in that live. And you guys caught that live, you know, he made a good argument of why he think that Drake may have intentionally done this. All right, even some of them came up with the conclusion that maybe Drake and did it on purpose to teach her a lesson, whatever it is. All right, and then Kevin Samuels out of nowhere hops into the stream, all right, and gives his 2 cents on it, and he basically lands on the other side of the argument, basically saying, hey, listen, I'm a dude, all right, and I could basically do what it is I want to do. If I want to dispose of it in the trash, well, it's going to go in the trash. All right. So the topic of conversation today, people, is it to flush or to no flush? That will be the topic of conversation today. So let's go ahead and get into it. First things first, where are my manners? First, shout out to you guys for being here. All right. Let me go ahead and welcome you guys in the chat. All right. Then you in the building. All right. What's good with your black light? I see you in the building. Ooh, put some respect on his name. Psycho Tate, shout out to you. Leah Swenson, how you doing? How you all doing, man? I appreciate you guys being here. Primal, all right. Duke's hairline's back in action, all right. Hey, listen, my hairline's receding, so don't be surprised if I come around in one of these Great Value streams and Duke's ball, because I'm doing the whole Dwayne Johnson look, baby. Nice and smooth. Let's go. All right. I appreciate y'all being here nevertheless. All right. Metal Jake, shout out to you. Poppy Blanco in the building. Was good. Just me, coconuts. How we doing today? Yes, we about to have this conversation. So let's get into it, shall we? You guys already pretty much know what's going on with the whole Drake situation. That's been covered by channels, far bigger and far smaller than us, all over the worldwide manosphere, okay? And essentially, this particular topic, you guys already know. Drake did his thing with an IG model, okay, and tossed his thing in the trash. But before he decided to toss his Drake lied seed in the trash, he decided to put a little hot sauce in it. That's right, folks. That is right. He tossed a little bit of hot sauce in it, kind of swirled it around a little bit, shook it up, make sure that all the content, every bit of content in this in this condom, all right, is going to be eradicated. Okay, so that woman or no one gets access to my seed and tosses in the trash. Okay, so Drake leaves, and essentially when that happened, IG model goes in after him, and she's like, you know what, shit, I'm gonna go use the bathroom. As most guys know, when a girl's actually before a girl gets in bed with you, and after she gets in bed with you, she's going to the bathroom. Either way, all right, that's just what women do. All right, what y'all do in the bathroom before that, you know, that's up to a mystery, but we know that's what's happening. So in this case, Drake's IG model for the evening decided to hop into that bathroom, all right, and, you know, take her business. Now, maybe to Drake, he may have assumed that she was probably using the bathroom as most women do, right? Because most women use the bathroom after sex. And the girl was telling me that you got to do that to kind of flush some stuff out, make sure you don't get an infection, you know. So there are plausible reasons why you'd go in the bathroom afterwards. But here's the crazy thing. While in said bathroom, Drake heard a scream unlike anything in the world. Oh, it was loud. It was loud. And upon hearing this said scream, Drake said, "Oh, hell no," and ran into that damn bathroom to figure out what's going on. And once he found out, he realized that chick had a burning desire, all right? She had a burning itch, all right? But not the kind of itch we're talking about, right? You know, not the fresh and fit kind, but the kind of burning desire that only came from unpacking the contents of that particular bag, which is the condom, and emptying it in your private stuff, right? And that's what led to that scream. So fast forward, there's now a lawsuit filed against Drake, holding him responsible for said hot sauce concoction. Guys, okay, first of all, I'm sorry. Like, this shit is funny as hell. Like, it's so funny. First things first. You know what? When I first heard the story, you know what this reminded me of? Y'all remember that chick that put glue on her hair? Right? That chick that put glue on her hair and all of a sudden realized that it was a bad idea to put super glue on her hair. And what happened? Right? She ended up having her hair fucked up. Then she had to go get it surgically removed. And she turned around and tried to sue Gorilla Glue. All right. So we are in a world of like stupidity. All right. And people are so desperate to get ahead and get to certain places in life. Right. They want a quick come up that people are going to do that. All right. And in this case, I don't know what the hell. I didn't really follow that outcome beyond the story of her putting hot glue in her hair. All right. But did she win that lawsuit? Because if she won that lawsuit, essentially or I think she got a settlement. And essentially what end up doing is that sets a precedent that other people, which we had copycats, right? We had other dudes who came out and putting hot glue on their beards, and some of them went and redid the same thing because they thought that old chick was capping, right? But either way, she got herself fame, which brought her a lot of money and notoriety. So you can't say certain things when people do certain idiotic things, society doesn't reward them for it, because it does. Now, in this case, when we're looking at Drake and the IG model situation, there are a lot of moving parts, all right? Before we even get to this debate, we got to understand there's a lot of moving parts, all right? The first moving part of this whole situation is obviously the whole sexual engagement part. There was consent there, all right? And matter of fact, there was express consent given in that situation. So you guys definitely want to keep that in mind. And secondly, all right, when you empty your stuff into the condom, all right, throwing it in the trash is another way that people use to basically get rid of it, right? That's a viable way. Guys, you know, you've done that, and most guys have done that, right? However, another element is like certain guys, you know, that want to take extra precaution. You can also do certain things like either flush it in the toilet, all right, put hot sauce in it, or put certain things, spermicide, right? The spermicide's another thing. So you can do different things to basically kind of get rid of it or protect yourself after the fact, right? And then the other component that we also have that's a mixture in this is the what do you call it? The woman perspective, right? Because what you guys got to understand is you're coming at a perspective of someone who has something and someone who significantly has more. All right. So when you're looking at that dynamic, obviously someone's going to try to figure out a way to get a little bit of what that person has, whoever has more, right? It's in society. The have-nots are always going to try to take from the haves. All right. It is what it is. That's just how society plays. And this young lady decides to go in there because you can't account for, you can't control how people behave, right? Goes in there and takes the action of doing what she did, right? And then afterwards, you got the lawsuit and all that stuff that's happening. So now, when you look at the stuff at face value, right, you almost want to ask the conversation. It's almost clear, right? You can have a conversation, ask the question, but it's almost clear to see who's clearly at fault, right? And you would think it'd be very clear, straight, and pimp to the point, right? And some people were pretty torn on this, and I know for a fact I was pretty torn on this, torn on it, hearing some different arguments and things like that. But the one thing that's clear, all right, I'm gonna just throw this before we get into the debate. All right, I know we kind of went in for about 16 minutes now. Before we go on the debate, I just want to let y'all know, all right, I am a flusher. Yep. That's right. That is right. So I'm going into this debate. Y'all already understanding where my biases lie. All right. I am a flusher. All right. I would have preferred to flush that motherfucker in the toilet because that's what I've always done. I don't take no chances, no risks, no nothing. All right. I know how y'all females be. I'm hip to the game. It is what it is. I'm not saying it's just, mainly for just, preventing unwanted kids or nonsense like that. But it's just, A, for sanitary reasons, you flush it. And B, because I don't want to freaking use condom just staring at me every time. Listen, the morning after I wake up, the first thing I do is go to the bathroom for my morning ritual. All right. On my morning ritual, you know what your boy's doing. We're empty out the contents from the bowel for the previous day. All right. I don't want to look in the trash and see my used up shit in there. I just flush it and get rid of it. That's just it. It's gone. We're done with it. All right. So I'm a flusher. All right. So we're going to go into this debate because lead attorney is leaning on the side of basically, hey, bro, you should have flushed it. It don't matter, Drake. You're Drake. You should have flushed it. And Kevin Samuels leaning on the right. Well, I have the right to do what I want with my seat. So without further ado, let's go ahead and cue up this video and get into it. All right. Give me one moment here. And let me know how we doing on audio. And then we'll go back and forth with you guys too as well, because I'm curious to see what you guys think about this whole situation, right? Because in the manosphere, things tend to lean, one side at times, but we tend to have a fairly balanced audience. So I'm interested and very curious to see where you guys vote on this. All right, first things first. Actually, you know what? Before we go into lead attorney's side and Kevin Samuels' debate, I want to know what you guys' thoughts are on the actual situation that happened, right? Who thought, okay, let me phrase this question the way that you guys can kind of easily digest it and vote on it quickly, all right? So, who was in the wrong? 1 for Drake, 2 in the chat for the IG model. Who was in the wrong? 1 for Drake, or 2 for the IG model? Let's do it. God damn, look at all these damn twos. Holy, even some of you ladies. Oh, wow. This is very, oh, wow. Wow. Y'all are different. Y'all are some different folks, man. Y'all are some different folks because you see on the other side, man, it's a different story. But that's interesting. That's interesting. Listen, I'm more in line to agree with you. Actually, which is rare, but I'm more in line to agree with you. But let's go ahead and cue this up and get going. I appreciate y'all, man. This is why I love y'all, man. You guys are the damn near the best chat freaking the manosphere can find. That is for sure. So let's go ahead and pull this up. Let me know how we're going to be doing on audio. All right, we're going to dissect this entire breakdown. All right, I'm going to throw my sense in it too as well. I've already laid out my biases, okay? So you guys already know from the standpoint that I'm going to be coming from, but we're also just going to break this down in a neutral way. And you guys will be surprised at the end. We're going to have a vote on who do you guys think won this debate. All right. This little squabble that they had. All right. I want you guys to tell me who you think won. Let's go ahead and play.
Thank you so much for coming up, Kevin. I really appreciate it, man.
Hey. So let's start a couple of things. One,
Okay.
if I throw something out of my house in the mail or in the trash, it is established that once it's out on the curb, process servers, police, private detectives, anyone can pick through it.
Talk about it.
But if it's in my mailbox, that's a federal crime for you to go after the same property.
So what Kevin Samuels is doing right now is basically framing his point right now. All right, we're starting from the perspective of him just basically coming into the chat, and now he's stating his argument. He's basically saying, all right, listen. All right, if I throw something outside, anybody can get at it. All right, the feds, garbage man, anyone can dig into my trash and take the contents within my trash. Right, that's his argument. That's what he's prefacing this with. All right, and then you'll see where he starts to go with this. All right, so you guys just know where his arguments he's coming from.
True.
That's number one. Number two. Getting bad medical advice doesn't make a person liable. We're from the South. People eat red dirt. How many bad home remedies are people responsible for? What we do know is we had a man use a condom, which is a contraceptive device used to reduce risk of sexually transmitted disease and curb risk of possible pregnancy. That's what we do know. We do know he had consensual sex, and he went to do what he thought, chose, or whatever to do with his DNA, his material. It was thrown away in a trash can in his home. It wasn't on the curb. It wasn't in the street. We don't know what Mr. Arbery was going to do with that material after that woman left. So her going into the can and doing whatever she chose to do, you can't assume any malice of forethought with my client. What if he was going to go back and retrieve it and, I don't know, put it in a think chest or a time capsule?
Kevin, he said that he put hot sauce in the condom to kill the sperm.
Well, yeah, maybe so. Maybe he got bad medical advice.
And
I had a physician that told me that I had a tumor when I actually had stage 3 Hodgkin's lymphoma.
Jesus.
Happens every time. Medical malpractice, bad medical advice does not mean why he's not the doctor. How many people are in jail right now because they got bad legal counsel?
Facts. Facts. Although a lot of those people did shoot their neighbor. I see what you're saying. Here's the thing. He also said that he put. It's not the fact that the sperm did or did not die from the hot sauce so much, but the reason that he put the hot sauce in the condom is because he said that he thought that the woman might try to put the contents of the condom inside of her. Right?
When did he say that?
He said that in this article, and I can let me share my screen just to kind of pull it up.
So he's saying that he had multiple reasons: one, to kill the evidence, to kill the DNA, and two, because he was booby trapping.
Well, here's the thing.
Because it's a booby trap. That's what it is.
It's right. That's what it's a booby trap. It really is, guys. And now,
it's a booby trap. If he actually said that he made a booby trap, then he's legally responsible.
Yeah, he didn't say he made a booby trap. He didn't know, but yeah, he didn't say he made a booby trap, but he did say that he wanted to kill the sperm. And he wanted to kill the sperm because the woman might try to put the sperm inside of her.
Okay.
Which goes to Kevin Samuels' original point. All right. So if someone who has a thought process of, all right, I'm gonna put this hot sauce in my condom after I'm done with it because I'm gonna use it as I'm gonna think of it as some kind of spermicide or use it as some form of spermicide. Well, why not? Why not do it? So I'm gonna just toss this in the bag and hope that take care of that, right? So it's no different. You're taking precautions to basically take care of yourself and protect yourself and your seed, albeit a horrible way to go about it, right? Because there's no guarantees that that's not going to work. And if you knew that you were putting it in anticipation of knowing that that's what women do, that's understandable. That's literally no different than if someone takes spermicide and tosses it in their condom. Only difference is she got burned for it, right? Because it's a skin irritation. But now the key conversation is intent. That's a key conversation or key word of this conversation. What was Drake's intent, essentially? Because it seems like lead attorney was assigning a whole lot of intent regarding Drake and how he thought that Drake was basically doing this with intent to basically get at her, to punish her, right? And I personally don't think that's the case. And I will go over my argument for that in just a second. But let's continue.
So he knew that the woman might try to put the contents of the condom inside
This
of her.
is chicken or egg, Lee. How do we know which is more important? All we got to do is presume 51% that he did it to kill the sperm. Then the other 49 is after the fact. It's kind of like the officer pulling you over to ask you for an ID, and you ask him, what's the reasonable articulable suspicion of pulling me over? And he throws you in jail for failure to ID. It's a secondary charge. What Drake did with the hot sauce trying to kill the sperm, trying to booby trap, is it the first charge or is it it's a secondary?
Yeah, the law says it doesn't matter. The law says once you make a booby trap, there are no booby traps in this country.
That's why I said if he said that, I don't know who his legal counsel is, but if he said that, then booby traps are illegal.
Yeah. And he didn't say that he didn't say that he made a booby trap. He just made it. He just made it. He spiked this condom with a substance.
Notice the verbiage, right? I mean, yeah, okay, in a sense, he is right by saying spike the condom, but like, where else do we use you guys? When you guys hear the word somebody spiked something, it's always in like with a negative connotation to it, right? Like a spike into somebody else's drink or something, or somebody else's food or something, right? The framing of it is what I have a problem with, Lead, because we don't know what the intent is. All right, and I also find it funny. I thought, don't y'all find it funny? All right, especially y'all do it, and you level-headed women in the chat right now. Don't you always find it funny that we're right now out here discussing Drake's intent, whether he did it on purpose or not? Well, we already know that this IG model, we already know what her intent was. All right. We already knew what her intent was. All right. If you find a bag of condoms or condom in the trash, all right, that's tied up. All right. First of all, it's tied up. It wasn't just thrown in the trash. So meaning that, hey, the person who tied it up doesn't want you to have access to it. That's why he tied it up. So when you untie that, all right, that's the first set of security measure. The second set of security measure was the hot sauce acting as spermicide in there, albeit the worst way to go, but it's still a chemical mixture, just like spermicide. Nevertheless, all right? So she bypassed that and then tossed it right into her. What was her intent when she did all of that, all those different actions? Because we know it was clear. So realistically, that's why I'm glad you guys had that. Y'all put them dukes up, right? Y'all put them twos up, right? Because we know what her intent was, but here we're having a conversation about Drake. The fact that the reason why I find this so funny is that this made it so far into a courtroom. Like no one decided to just look at this and just basically just like call this girl's parents and have her somebody come pick her up and just sit her down and have a life conversation with her. Right? Why aren't we talking about that? This is a sound opportunity to start holding a lot of these women accountable. And not all women, but women who live online. These IG model-ish type of women and the wannabes that follow them. I call them the Kim Kardashian is all their godmothers. That's what it is. You want to talk about the godmother of thought culture is Kim Kardashian. She started that whole entire nonsense. That's what it is. So we are all these clones and chicks online that want to live and emulate that kind of lifestyle, getting rich or hitting a lick off a dude or a rapper or an athlete, right? Like, there it is. Why aren't we talking about it? We can use this as a goddamn learning curve to basically separate the good behaviors from the bad and actually shame and demonize the worst behaviors because that's shameworthy. Look at the ladies in the chat who put up them twos, who put them deuces up, right? You put them up because you understood that this woman's intent was wrong. What if the person had a sexually transmitted infection? Right? What if that was a thing? And then she inserted those contents into herself and got sick. Where's the accountability and responsibility for her? This is how young women ruin their lives prematurely because they make terrible decisions and good people aren't around them to check them on it. Let's continue.
That was going to irritate and injure a woman's privates, knowing that the woman had a high probability of putting the contents of the condom inside of her, which was why he put the caustic material in the condom in the first place.
Okay, knowing versus common knowledge that women do it. All right, because Drake is obviously a superstar. All right, and a superstar in that world, you already know what chicks like that are up to. All right, even someone who is not as famous as Drake, right? Let's say a Future. All right, nevertheless, Future, I'm sure does. Wait, time out. With all them kids that brother has, I don't know if he does, if he follows them rules. Like, I don't know. Maybe Future's not a good example. Michael B. Jordan. Let's talk about Michael B. Jordan, right? Michael B. Jordan, we got Drake. Okay, I'm sure Michael Jordan is in that superstar life. Maybe it's not as big as Drake. Okay, he's getting there, but not as big as Drake. But Michael B. Jordan, I guarantee you, if he's out and about doing stuff behind Lori Harvey, I'm sure as hell guarantee he's taking some extra precautions. Absolutely, he's taking some extra precautions. But not only that, he within that niche, within that industry, already kind of understand that that's the game. All right. Now, the different types of lessons that they learn and how they pick that stuff up, it's up to them. But one thing we can guarantee, we already know that these people in Hollywood believe some crazy ass shit. Listen, if dudes and brothers and sisters from all over this country believe in crazy ass superstitions and folklores on how to move about their lives, or there are people out there currently right now convincing other people, let me get my mud back in here. I'm about to show y'all some stuff. All right. There are people right now who are actively convincing other people of alternative medicine, alternative lifestyle to basically go about doing things, right? So you can't just try to ascribe intent to someone who could just be following whatever it is people in the industry do. We already know people in Hollywood are weird. They have weirdo traditions. Y'all don't believe me. Y'all remember that lady that was made thousands, like millions of dollars convincing women to put rocks in their vaginas. Y'all remember her? She was also on that podcast with Will Smith's wife, Jada Pinkett. All right, they did a Facebook stream and that also went viral for some dumb shit. But y'all remember her, right? She's a Hollywood chick. Hold up, let me get this over here. Let me get this over here. Y'all need to see this. Y'all need to see this. Y'all remember her? You remember her? This is a Hollywood superstar woman. All right. This woman right here. She was Iron Man's wife. Okay. In the movie. Okay. And she convinced millions of women to put a jade egg in their vaginas with all these different health benefits with no goddamn proof that they did anything. Right. With no proof that it worked. No proof that it really helped. But she convinced a bunch of sane people to stuff a jade egg off their vaginas. It got so bad, the doctors came out telling young women, hey, don't do this shit. Because it will fuck your shit up, it will fuck your balance up, and it'll make your box stink. All right, look at this. Look at the shit that she was saying, right? For $55, you can have heart-activating rose quartz egg. For $55, you could buy a rose quartz eggs to shove up your box. That's what you get for $55. Where's the backlash for her? Time out. I don't know if they went over okay. Hold up. I wonder if they went over the seriousness of how dangerous this stuff is. All right? Because okay, they blast the benefits as the biggest load of garbage, right? Like vaginal steaming. Look at that. Look at this nonsense, right? This is this woman, a superstar. All right. Look at the actual diagnosis that the doctors warned. They said Gunter also warned that sleeping with a jade egg in your vagina could lead to bacterial vaginosis or toxic shock syndrome. Okay. This is people in Hollywood. Okay. This is people in Hollywood. And then we come to Drake. All right, we come to Drake. Hang on, let me go back here. We come to Drake, and we're surprised. We're surprised that someone like Drake. We're surprised like someone like Drake is doing shit like hot sauce. You're surprised after knowing what people in Hollywood do, the weird traditions, right? There was even a scandal of people in Hollywood who didn't take showers because they had their own beliefs on how showers work and the benefits of it, right? There are people who didn't shower themselves and they didn't shower their kids, all right? They didn't take daily showers and they were talking about benefits. So why are we getting mad at Drake, who is one of these Hollywood dudes who by the way, just because he's Hollywood don't mean he don't believe in weird shit like them other dudes do, all right? Because he does. Why who's to say he didn't actually genuinely believe that hot sauce packet in a condom, all right, didn't yield to some level of spermicide, all right? Didn't lead to some level of deterrent, right? Because you got the smell, which is another question I have. Like, how'd you bypass the smell? Like, hot sauce has a very distinctive smell. Like, you pop that thing open. Listen, lady. I'm sure in your world, being the IG model, you probably understand what semen smells and tastes like, right? So, listen, I don't know. That's you. So, I'm assuming you've had some level of experience with that. So, how is it that when you unwrapped the little bag, you didn't sense something was a little different, right? Something was a little fishy. I mean, not coming from you, but the actual bag, right? How did you figure that out? So then we got to go back to the question of intent, because it's almost like to say that you didn't know that something else was in that particular bag of the content, right? There was something else mixed in there. We got to talk about intent, because you would have sensed it and knowingly known what was in there and inserted that within yourself. That's on you. That's nobody else. But I just want to serve that as like a what do you call it? So you guys can just so you guys can understand what's going on. Disorban, shout out to you. Thank you for the $5 super chat. Thank you. What if he used spermicide and the woman was allergic to spermicide? Would Drake have been liable then? Thank you. Thank you. This is what I'm talking about. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Hang on. Camera's acting up again. No, this is exactly what I'm talking about. It's a chemical concoction. Now, obviously, it's not one of those things that's like FDA and you're supposed to like, you can't put hot sauce in there. All right. Whatever it is. He was using it the same way as you would a spermicide. Because if you use a spermicide, some people wrap it up in a bag and toss it in the trash because they're assuming the spermicide is doing its job. That's what they're assuming. So if she would have used a spermicide but had some unknown allergy to the spermicide, or even some chick has allergic reactions to condoms, right? If she would have had that, is that Drake's fault then? When we start to have these kind of arguments, we're creating a slippery slope to where the accountability is removed for the accountability needs to say. I'm not saying that the woman needs to be punished greatly, but I'm not saying that we should be sitting here seriously entertaining a potential lawsuit from this type of situation. Because even just talking about this, what kind of precedent are we setting as a society? You see what I'm saying? So, no, I shout out to you for the super chat. That makes 100% sense. Let's go back to the video.
See, I don't know who his counsel is, but that was bad. He shouldn't have said that, because there's case law where people have had their properties or their businesses burglarized, and owners have, like in New York, I want to say that people were coming in from the roof. So the owner basically puts makeshift medieval kind of spikes. So when they drop down from the roof inside of his property, they would be injured. He actually ended up having to pay because he created a booby trap.
Exactly.
Now, him creating the booby trap and him admitting, if Drake had not admitted that he did it for that secondary reason, he could actually claim plausible deniability. But if he said that, it's a booby trap. He's pretty much screwed at this point.
Yeah, let me read what it says right here. Again, this is the article here. And it says that the woman, the model, used the bathroom after Drake and then proceeded to pour the contents of the condom into her genitalia. Mm-hmm. She immediately experienced a burning sensation and started to scream, causing Drake to run into the bathroom to see what was going on. He then told the model that he poured hot sauce from a packet into the rubber to try to kill the sperm should the model try to get pregnant from the artist.
So now I want to put, unless we have Drake's sworn statement, that's what he did. This is hearsay.
It's absolutely hearsay. It's from an article, right?
I'm just saying, you know, and I know, I would, as long as we don't have Drake saying he did it for that reason, he can wiggle through this one, because even in the court of public opinion, would this be a civil matter or a criminal matter? Well,
it depends, right? Because she's saying that she was injured. Now, most likely it's going to be civil. People are saying, well, let's be honest, like no police department is going to arrest Drake.
Right.
Right.
So it's going to likely be a civil matter.
That's exactly
preponderance of the evidence. There's ways to get around this, because here's the thing. Just like I know, especially are there juries in civil trials?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, you get enough men on there that who understand. Come on, this lady has a higher burden. As long as Drake doesn't admit out of his mouth, as long as he puts that finger over his lips, and don't get his ego involved. Because think about it the other way. The precedence that this would set, that not only must you use a condom and protect yourself, you must also go to stage 4 biohazard level precautions to get rid of your own DNA. What are we telling men out here in the dating environment?
But listen though, Kevin, listen to what we talked about, because let's assume that he gets this woman pregnant, and just ballpark, let's assume he has to pay $20,000 a month for 18 years. Somebody added that up and it was like $4.3 million. Now, shouldn't you have to go to, what'd you say, stage 4 biohazard when you have $4.3 million on the line?
No,
shouldn't.
Because I'll tell you why.
Okay.
So lead attorney has a point, and this is where Kevin Samuels kind of lost me, because the way he kind of framed the argument, the lead attorney, this is why he's an excellent attorney, right? Hey, if you got over $4 million on the line right now, all right, how many of you guys would actually take the extra step of flushing your condom? Right? Actually, let me ask the chat right now. All right, if you guys are dudes, all right, if you have $4 million on the line right now over the next 18 years, all right, would you, and it predicated on you flushing the condom, would you do it? All right, this is the question he posed to Kevin Samuels. Now, we heard Kevin Samuels answer. He said no, which I disagree with, because I flush, all right? I'm a flusher. And you ain't even got to put $1 million on the line. You don't even got to put $500,000 on the line. Matter of fact, you ain't even got to put $20. You don't even got to put nothing. I'm a flusher for free. That's just how I am. So put a 1 in the chat if you agree with lead attorney. Put a 2 in the chat if you think that no, if $4 million is on the line, you still don't have to flush it if you don't have to. I'll wait. Put a 1 in the chat if you think $4 million is worth flushing your condom down the toilet. Put a 2 if it doesn't. Classic Ruby, the question was, put a 1 in the chat if you think $4 million, which is the child support that she would get over the next 18 years if she gotten pregnant from Drake, right? Would you rather flush the condom down the toilet to avoid paying $4 million? Put a 1 in the chat. Or 2, no, screw it. I don't care $4 million on the line. I don't have to flush my toilet or my condom down the toilet. So 1 or 2. But we got some decent amount of 1s over here. Okay, no, that's fucking no. That's the hands down. So I'm with lead on this one. I'll throw point to lead on this one. All right, because I don't agree. Listen. If we're putting it logically, Kevin Samuels, OG, just letting you know, if we're putting this in a logical sense, $4 million, I'll flush that bitch. Like, what are you talking about? I will flush it. That's just money that you don't want to lose. It's a risk you don't want to take. And realistically, that's 18 years. You're not just dealing with that. Not just 18 years. 18 years to life, man. It's a child. All right, the child's going to need more than that, right? And on top of that, Drake probably isn't going to be the type of man or the type of father to that child would need. You see what I'm saying? So if you don't want to go through all that $4 million plus, flush the damn thing, bro. Like Kevin Samuels, I gotta give the win to lead attorney on this one. But let's continue. I mean, they bring us some good points. This is a great conversation, guys. This is a great conversation. I'm glad that we're all having this along with them.
Because that means we're saying some children are worth more than others in this country.
They are.
Well, I know, but under the law, we don't have laws for rich and poor. I mean, I get what you're saying. So we're saying that if you are a more successful man, I mean, the guy, I also recall him.
I have to disagree with Kevin Samuels on that little bit there. Like, yeah, everyone know it's not verbally stated, but we all know that there's a different law system or justice system for people who got money and a different justice system for people who don't have money. So Kevin Samuels, I got to give that point to lead again. So let's continue.
A part of this article that he was very much into getting consent.
Yes.
Then the government, if we're going to prosecute men of the country this way, then we need guidelines from the government on how this Me Too shit is out of control. We're going to need we're going to need laws. We're going to need federal direction and state direction, how men are supposed to approach women.
Yeah. And it seems like exactly right what you were saying, that he was very explicit about getting consent, right? Mm-hmm. But these laws do not protect us as men when it comes to our sperm. And I talked, go ahead.
Well, this is when we as men have to protect each other on the juries, like women do. I mean, this is going to come down to, if it went to court, it will go down to, if it's going to be a jury, it's going to come down to jury selection and an argument. As long as Drake doesn't admit, we have it in the court of preponderance of evidence and public opinion. His public persona is not one of, he doesn't have a real bad history with women. And we also have to understand that we're on the other side of the Me Too pendulum. We're starting to go back to where, not back, but men are kind of getting tired of having to do all of this. Yes. What are we telling the men? So any judge would also be careful in understanding what these rulings and things would mean. So I think it's an interesting.
I got to pause it right there because Kevin Samuels does have a point. I'll give him a point to that one because as we start to go along here, man, and we start pushing the goddamn curtains further and further back, I mean, here's what's going to happen. You can only push people way too far before they snap. And I'm not saying dudes in mass are going to be snapping out here and doing wilding and doing crazy shit. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying they're going to snap in a way where they're going to regain control of the system. Like I'm talking about the legal and the law system because it's not that hard for them to do, ladies. Let's just be real, all right? If enough men get angry enough and they get up in arms and they actually dive in and like get involved in the voting system, the legal system, all right? Because most men right now, they're not really that involved in the political process. If you want to know who's involved with political process, a lot of women, actually women and children overwhelmingly are involved in a lot of the political voting process and things like that, which makes sense. A lot of guys don't, which also kind of makes sense. So if you really think about it, we're gonna get a push to the point where there's gonna be some kind of repercussion to it, right? And guys are gonna be doing different methods. First, there's gonna be a deeper push for male birth control options, more male birth control options that are safer, right? There's gonna be a deeper push for males getting vaccines. Shout out, not vaccines, vasectomies, right? Primal, if he's in the building, Primal is a big advocate of the vasectomy, right? More guys are gonna start getting snip, right? More guys are gonna start finding other ways, or more straightforward ways to let society know, at least the people who are running society right now, say, hey, listen, what other options do we have? What do you want us to do? You're almost like letting us say that, okay, we can't. So men, and we as men, we're handcuffed, right? Where we can't do shit to protect ourselves when our seed leaves our body. But then, how then we get all the responsibility? Like, that doesn't make any sense. So if we can't protect ourselves, if we can't defend ourselves, and all these different measures that we're taking to defend ourselves from these harassment or these vague laws that you guys are putting together, you take that away, then we're just not in, either we're not going to engage, or we're going to push back through the systems. And men are already primed in a way to take the shit over anyways. It's just that a lot of guys aren't focused in the political process. And you don't believe me, look at how many percentage of guys who are in high political office right now. Right? We still haven't had a female president yet. So what does that tell you? That means America much rather relies on male leadership than female leadership. I mean, not saying that that's not going to change later down the road, but that's the consensus right now. So if really things really wanted to change and enough men made an uproar, shit could change. But the problem is, are the type of men who are going to make this type of uproar, what's the kind of mental state? Are they going to be angry enough and get in the same state like some of these other feminists out here, right, to then get the laws to be back where it was, all right? Or are they going to be more level-headed, balanced people that can come together, actually understand how to make laws based off of our nature and how people behave, not just based off of feelings? All right, we need to start making laws based off of human nature, what human beings are more inclined to do. Yes, people lie. No, you can't believe all people. And yes, there needs to be due process, fair due process for all. Not just sitting here believing somebody because they accuse somebody first. This is where we start to have problems. So if we start pushing men to the point where they feel like they don't have options, there is going to be some kind of pushback. All right. It's just the kind of pushback. And when that pendulum swings backwards, that's the big question. And what is it going to look like?
Interesting case, because if it went against Drake, you think the Mike Pence rule was extreme?
Yeah.
You think the Mike Pence rule was extreme? What are we ultimately telling men? Don't have sex with women unless you're married and willing to pay the cost, however a child is conceived.
That's exactly right. And, and I talked about the worst type of child support case that involves male children, 13-year-old boys, 12-year-old boys who are victims of assault, victims of rape. And they are violators. 20-year-olds, 24-year-olds will get pregnant, and those boys will be on child support, right? They even boys.
Those type of stories right there. It's those type of stories right there that have set a lot of people off. You see what I'm saying? So if you guys are out here touting that we want everything equal under the law, we're fighting so hard for equality and equal rights, X, Y, and Z. A grown ass woman who purposely decided to take the risk to insert contents from a trash can into her body, right? Contents from a trash can. All right, people, listen. If I closed my eyes and heard that somebody walked around garbages, picking stuff out of garbage and sticking it in their body, I would think they're some kind of heroin junkie, right? In my mind, I'm picturing a junkie grabbing a needle from the trash and putting it in their body. That's what I think, right? So when you have somebody taking that kind of risk, that kind of nonsense, right? And then deciding not, and then when society looks at that and says, okay, this woman, let's not hold her accountable. But this young man having a baby by this woman, no, we're going to use the laws to make him accountable. When people start seeing that discrepancy, they stop believing in the system. And when they stop believing in the system, problems start to happen, right? It's no different from when the virus broke out and then we had the whole shootings and the protests and stuff that went down, right? Y'all remember the George Floyds, all right? Y'all remember all the different stuff that happened during the prior years, right? And what ended up happening was, here's how the whole vaccine argument got tossed away, right? Because at first, people believed that shit. They were like strongly staunch for it. It was like, all right, let's make sure that we keep our social distancing. We'll all be fine, all right? We stay away from large groups. All the laws that these guys listed off for the protocols, not gathering in mass and things like that, right? Fine. We all follow the rules. But when it seemed like, okay, time for protests, and you're only letting a certain group of people go out into the streets and do whatever they want and break all the rules that y'all set up that's supposed to protect us from this illness, this bug. Meanwhile, you're also simultaneously telling people they can't gather in churches, can't gather to go see their families for Christmas, can't see their families for Thanksgiving. You're setting those two rules. When people look at that, they're saying, okay, is there really a illness here? Or are you just making rules for thee, but not rules for me? What's happening here? Because are we supposed to be fair? It seems like one class of people are being treated above another class of people. And you see the same thing with the politicians. They got caught red-handed in bars, in salons, not following the same protocols that they laid out. So what do you expect people to think when they look at the rules and see it? They're like, oh, bullshit. I don't believe it. I don't buy it. It's not real because y'all not following the example. So then when we go back to this woman and this whole thing with Drake, when we had that whole situation, how do you expect people supposed to follow? How do you expect people supposed to take this situation seriously? They won't. We need to be strict. If we're going to say, hey, this is grape, no matter what. If you're at this age and this person is an adult and you're young, all right, if they have some kind of situation, you get the equal punishment under the law. Not one person getting this style of punishment and the other person getting walk away free, essentially. Because when guys look at that, when society as a whole looks at that, then they start to look at the society that's making the law, at least the people in charge making the law a little bit differently, and say, so what's actually happening here? Are you doing this to protect or equality like you guys are saying? Or is this some kind of weird tyrannic takeover? Like, people can't help the question, right? That's why you hear these conspiracy theories about agenda this and agenda that, because they see these kind of inconsistencies. This is the problem. And when guys start focusing on this, this is where the pushback starts.
Young boys are not protected in this country when it comes to these issues, right?
I would say that we have to be, that's true. You can have a teacher prey on a student and then end up on child support when he reaches 18. Eventually, you don't, I'm just saying, what are we going to do? Keep backing men into a corner to where 30% of men are going to be virgins by age of 30. A certain amount of men are already locked out effectively of the mating and marriage market. The men who are already in there are hearing the horror stories. And what we don't see is we don't see a one-to-one response. These women need to start understanding men are not at what point are we telling men that you are just to be used and abused by the system? I mean, do we expect men to not defend themselves?
Yeah. Once you start saying that boys who are victims of rape, have to get on child support when they reach the age of majority, you're really showing how much you value men, masculinity, and manhood and boyhood in this country, right? Mm-hmm. And you're not trying to hide it at all.
I just put it to you this way, that there's always going to be a balancing, and you cannot continue. I mean, I don't know what else the dude could have did. Yeah, it was maybe, let's say he got bad medical.
Hit the like button, fellas. Hit the like button.
Which he was. Because let's be honest, Kevin, let's be honest. every man would have just flushed that condom. Is that right?
No, I have fraternity brothers, and I know guys who really think this shit works, man.
Y'all see how Lee looked at him? And Lee, wait, the way you pose this question, again, we got to talk about framing, lead attorney, all right? Because this is a little framed a little differently, all right? You said every man flushes their condom down the toilet. And I'm here to tell you, lead attorney, not every man do it. Just like we showed with the whole Gwyneth Paltrow and Goop and all that nonsense, right? We know that there are men out here that believe in certain things. Matter of fact, there are men out here that believe that they like to fuck with socks on. Yep. That's there are guys out there that believe that if I have sex with a woman with my socks on, I could stand a better chance to hold my nut in. Right? I could hold my nut in longer. The guys that believe that shit. Like you don't believe the kind of crazy rituals some dudes believe and do before they get into the bedroom, dog. Like, it's wild. It is wild. So this kind of stuff, by saying every guy flushes this or does things in a bedroom or a certain type of way, we gotta be careful of the framing, because human beings are different. That's all I gotta say about that.
Wait. So you've heard of cases? Wait. You've heard of cases where men put hot sauce in condoms?
Yeah, I went to OU during the Switzer years, brother.
I've never heard of this.
Yeah, I've heard. That's why when I heard it, I was like, this ain't new. It's not. But it's only a certain, men with something to lose.
Why would you not flush it though?
Because again, you've heard you flush it, it may come back up, it may do this with that. You just don't know. So like in the lab, when in the chemical lab, when you are making different substances, there are some substances that, after like ethanol, when you make it in organic chemistry, as soon as you are running through the chromatograph and it's proven that it's ethanol, you know what the lab instructor does? There's a procedure. They have to come put in a denutrient, a denaturer. I just put some denatured oil in my indoor fireplace. You know why you do that? Because if not, you'd have straight ethanol. You could drink it. People have gone to organic chemistry, learned how to do the ethanol exercise, gotten access to the lab without the instructor, and tried to make ethanol on their own, but didn't have access to the chromatograph. And they turned around and made methanol. Why? To get closest they could to moonshine, or what is it? 151. You know the 151 liquor? When you get pure ethanol, they were trying to make liquor to take to a sorority party, and they went blind. My point is, there's always denaturing something is a way of disposal. You denature the ethanol first. Wait.
Are you saying Drake was denaturing his
I'm just saying
I gotta give point to Kevin Samuels. I gotta give point to Kevin Samuels on this one. Yes, in a way, when you insert that, like I said, it's so different from putting spermicide. Hey, listen, hot sauce is a mixture of chemicals, right? Okay. In this case, it's digestible. All right. You can put it on your food. You can put it on, whatever it is. Okay. And then spermicide, I wouldn't recommend eating it, but it's another thing too. And people can have allergic reactions to spermicide. So it's not 100%. I mean, it's a form of birth control, but it's not 100%. People out there are allergic to it. So when you put spermicide in and mix it in with your man juice, okay, your hormones, your man juice, okay, guess what? You are essentially changing its state. You are attempting to change the state. So it goes from an active sperm to a dormant sperm, meaning it can't work. It can't function. It's dead, right? Versus the same thing with hot sauce. Now, I don't know to the degree of effectiveness as spermicide, but it's a similar thing. All right, you're pouring contents in there to change its nature. So Kevin Samuels is right here, and I got to get a point to him. Let's continue.
Lead, where did I come up with this? You denature ethanol before you dispose of ethanol to make sure it can't be used. Which one comes first? You could easily pour the ethanol down a drain. You could easily flush it, but you denature it. They have to do that. So bottom line is who's the burden on? Is it on Drake to make sure he handles his material in his public home, his private home by himself, or this person who's going into somebody's trash in their home? I mean, what are we really saying here?
Let's vote on it right now. Who's the burden relying on it? All right, is it the Drake's burden to basically flush the toilet, or the woman's burden to not take stuff out of the trash and put it in their bodies? What do y'all think? Put a 1 in the chat if you think it's Drake's responsibility to handle his seed, which in a sense he kind of did by wrapping it up, or 2, the woman's responsibility to not take stuff out of the trash and put in the body. I can't believe we're saying this, but let's vote on it, people. 50-50. I mean, they're both equally responsible. Hey, chick, don't take shit out of people's trash, all right, and put it in your body. All right, you know, different from a goddamn addict, bro. Like, that's crazy. Again, I said, if someone told me a story, if I closed my eyes and said, hey, somebody took something out of the trash and put it inside themselves, I would immediately assume you want some heroin. That's what I would automatically assume. You're some kind of junkie, all right? They're taking needles out of the trash can or someplace and sticking it in your body. That's the only way I would see it. Other than that, why are you doing that? Aside from understanding what your intent was, which was to get pregnant by this guy's baby. Now, what you want to do afterwards, obviously, it's obvious. You wanted the child support like some of these other ladies are doing, right? That's the only way you would have done that. Or, I mean, you can't tell me you were in love with Drake and wanted to use the baby as a way to stick around, honey, because let's just say that. You can ask any other woman out there, they'll let you know that trick don't work no more. Baby can't trap a man. It is what it is. But we know what your intent was. And Drake, yes, you can kind of decide it's your responsibility too as well to flush your condom down the toilet. However, then again, it wasn't like he wasn't trying to take precautions on it, all right? And then, right, and the precaution was tying your condom and then putting some kind of denaturing agent in there to kind of shake things up, all right, and prevent other people from using it, almost like a deterrent, right? And that's an argument that I didn't hear, right? Because here's the thing, Lee, I don't know where what experiences he's had, but yeah, there are a lot of people that do tons of stuff to their seed after they're done with it. You want to know the kind of nonsense people be mixing in their stuff, man? Bleach and Windex and all that shit. Like, you don't know. People doing that stuff, man. So we also have to have the conversation about, like, guys have different rituals and different methods to basically kind of do it. Now, could he have flushed it? Yes. But then we have another conversation about intent, right? His intent was to use it as a deterrent. A deterrent, right? Just like people have beware of dog in front of the yard. Even if they do or do not have a dog, it's there. Why? So that way you would know, hey, listen, if I hop that fence, something's coming at and biting my ass. That's for sure. If I would have hopped that fence, I'm seeing a sign right there, something's going to hop out and bite me. It's the exact same thing. You put hot sauce in there, there's a certain kind of smell to it. It adds a certain kind of look to your nut, all right? So it's not going to be like, unless you're deeply unhealthy, which is crazy, right? You pulled that shit out of the bag. You saw it was red, right? And you willingly put red semen in your body. Like, you didn't have the foresight to think, what if this shit was infected? And he's a famous dude. He gets around, and we know some of these dudes, they get around, all right? They may have burning desires. You just decide to take something that looks red, smells funky, and put it inside you. Like you weren't asking for. I'm sorry, I gotta lean to you, lady. Like, that's crazy. Like, the more I think about this shit, the crazier it sounds. All right? Like, listen. You can describe all the kind of intent you want to Drake. Fact of the matter is, yes, okay, he could have flushed it, but he did take precautions to put it to get rid of it, right? He put deterrent methods on it. So I guess responsibility can go on both, but I'm leaning more on the lady because you took red cum out of the goddamn trash and put it in your body. You knew what you wanted to do. Like, let's stop beating around the bush. You knew what the fuck you wanted. Like, it's crazy. But I'm glad to see that we're a little bit balanced here. I'm leaning towards the lady. She's all types of wrongs in this situation.
No, Kevin, it's Drake's responsibility.
Okay. Well, we can say that. We can say that. So
and honestly, when you came up the last time and you were dropping,
this is where I give the point to Kevin Samuels again. I give the point to Kevin Samuels again. I do it. No, it's not just his responsibility because he already fulfilled his half. He put a deterrent in there and tossed it in the trash. It's not like he got done with the condom and just left it on the floor or left it on the countertop. Like, hey, just leave it on there, right? He wasn't careless with it. He took precaution with it, right? And he knew what he was doing. So you say 100% of responsibility, but he took some level of responsibility. Was it the right one, albeit, right? And who knows if there's a validity to it. We don't know if the hot sauce is as effective as spermicide. We don't know. But he took responsibility. He wasn't irresponsible with it. Okay, he didn't flush it. But flushing is another method of getting rid of something. And flushing, you can do other things too with it. I don't know.
so much knowledge. You were telling this. You came up. You were talking about. We were talking about the Lapeef situation. How their channel had gotten temporarily taken down by this troll. And you were saying, listen, guys. You know what was working for you when you had 1,000 subs, 2,000 subs. You guys are growing now. You guys have to operate, you know, in a more professional way or in a more business-like way, right? And that's how it is with men. You know, if you're a man and you're making, you know, $27,000 a year, you can get away with a lot of stuff that a man making, you know, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 can't get away with. Here we're talking about Drake. Well, he has millions and millions. He has to do things that, I mean, you know, the security procedure.
I understand that, lead attorney. I understand that it's Drake, but you also got to understand that Drake is also a human being. We can't just sit there and say just because he's a superstar that he actually knows what the fuck he's doing. We can't just ascribe that to him. We can't just say, oh, you're Drake, so because you're Drake, you should already know what the game is. Like I said, we just talked about Gwyneth Paltrow. Gwyneth Paltrow was selling jade eggs and telling broads to shove jade eggs up their box, telling them they had all these health benefits and all these goddamn reliefs and nonsense, all right? So you had all these girls coming out here with infections and shit because they listened to their superstar in chief telling them to put eggs up their box. All these celebrities, all these things, they're not that smart. They believe in some weird-ass superstitions. So just because it's Drake doesn't mean that the precaution he thought or he took, he didn't genuinely think that that was something that he thought would work, right? He thought it would act as a deterrent and also basically prevent the sperm from actually being active. Now, we don't know how right he was on that, but we can't just say, okay, you're Drake, so automatically you should already know. No, there's celebrities out there that are fucking dumb. Real talk. Poppy says she must have thought she made this cum mixed with blood. And that's still gross. Oh, that's still nasty. Like, if you know somebody had a bloody discharge that smelled funky, why would you willingly put that in your body, bruh? That could be anything. Like, it's a universal consensus that if you're bleeding while you use the bathroom or you ejaculate, men or women, you have a problem, all right? And I don't want no part of whatever that is. I don't want to wake up and start pissing blood. I don't want that. That's not a good thing, okay? So why would I see that and willingly insert in your body? Like, why would you do that? Unless you were... Let's continue. Because the more you think about that, we can't hold this woman. We have to hold this woman responsible. We have to hold this woman responsible. She needs to be checked for her stupidity. All right. When I was growing up, my mom would always say that being stupid will cost you. All right. And growing up, that shit was true. Being stupid needs to cost her. We need to stop rewarding these kind of people who can just go out and act wild and shit and expect results, expect the kind of attention. That's gross as fuck. That means you were so goddamn desperate. You didn't give a shit what was in that. You said, hey, look, I had sex with that man in that room, and that's his content in that trash bag. I'm going to just put whatever's in there inside me. You deserve everything that happened to you. And if this thing, listen, if this thing ends up negatively impacting your life, you deserve it. You absolutely deserve it because no self-respecting person would do this to themselves. I don't care, man or woman. And Lee tried to have the argument talking about like, and on the full live stream, for those of you guys that watched it, his argument was like, okay, you know, any 25, 26-year-old, you know, you pay them $100,000 and they'll shove something up their box or they'll do anything for pay, right? And he's kind of right in that situation. I mean, hell, there are girls out there right now, you pay them 50 grand, they'll fuck a camel. That's just... that is the world we live in, all right? So if we understand that, if we understand that's the nature of people, why are we still walking around with this naive perspective that, oh, yeah, you know, people aren't willing to do dumb shit for money? Come on, people.
Features that he has to take are off the charts.
And that's the ultimate thing. You had not heard of the hot sauce thing.
I have.
I've heard of it for decades. So that's where I'm saying, just like you hadn't heard of it, I've heard of it. This is not new to a lot of guys. So this is security. It may be ineffective security. It may be it may have been an old wives' tale or something passed down from bad advice from somebody in medical. But what it is, it's starting a conversation. Because why would a man, let's just say the other side, why would a man like Drake, go through such extraordinary measures only to fall at the finish line if his intent was to get a child?
What do you mean? Like he didn't
Well,
want a child, right?
Drake often has, it is rumored that Drake often has parties with beautiful Instagram models around, and he doesn't talk to any of them. They're just there more as party favor. In this story, it is very clear that Drake was extremely focused on getting consent.
True.
Came out with a condom on, and after he finished, he went through his security measures, flawed as they may be. His intent was to secure. And we're going to judge the method.
true.
He didn't intend to booby trap. He intended to secure. That's what I would argue. And I'd make the woman argue that her intent was to defraud.
Point for Kevin Samuels there. Hey, guys.
Oh, hell no.
Where my likes at? We got over 100 people in here, and we only got 60 likes. Come on, baby. Let's get the likes up. Let's get the likes up. All right? We're going to have a show. We're going to have a vote. We're going to have all these different deep conversations about the condom debate. Let's get the likes up, people. That's all I'm asking. Just keep it free, all right? Hey, so while we're doing this, all right, I'm going to put the link in the call-in show. We're going to have a call-in portion of this because I want to hear your thoughts on it, all right? But the likes got to be at least at 100, all right? By the end of this monologue and this particular video that we're going to be covering, we got to get to 100 likes to the call-in. But I'm going to post the link in the chat, and then what we're going to do is I'm going to pin it once we're done, and then we'll have the call-in because I also want to have a little debate on this situation too as well. This is crazy. This is crazy. There's a lot of stuff going on here, but so far we're split. We're split down the middle over here. All right. So let's get the likes up. We got to get to 100 for a call-in show. We got to get to 100.
Yes.
I heard a court of public opinion, and here's the thing: any dime she got, because there are so many men in courtrooms, in the halls of power, who can see they are potential marks too, and this was such a bad precedent. And like you said, Drake is not a gangster rapper with bad press. I mean, he did everything he could think of, whether it was right, wrong, or indifferent, to protect himself. And we're telling men that ain't good enough. Then you need to tell men what is good enough.
Fleshing it, Kevin. That's what's good enough. Let me ask you this, because there was a big disagreement in the chat, and really it was 50-50, and I'm surprised because I thought everybody was going to be on my side, but they weren't. But I'm going to toss.
I want to ask the guys also in the chat, but also in the who are going to be watching this on the after show. All right, what do you think is a valid suggestion for men? Right, what do you think is another option for men in this situation? Because we talked about consent, and we talked about the overwhelmingly amount of precaution men have to take in order to secure consent from women. Right, and women, y'all don't understand. Like, except for guys, these guys who are high value, they have to go above and beyond for a lot of this stuff. All right. So I want to have that conversation for those guys who are going to be watching this on the replay and those guys who are watching it live. What other options should men do? What do you guys recommend here? What other options should men do to prevent some of this stuff in order to get access to box? All right. Or are we truly limited here? Are we truly done? Let's go.
It up to you. All right. Let's assume that this woman, let's assume that she had 15 minutes of irritation. And so of significant irritation, but just irritation.
Mm-hmm.
And she files a lawsuit, and her and Drake settle out of court for $100,000. Let's assume that she is just a 24-year-old IG thought. All right. No education to speak of or anything like that. Just 24-year-old IG model trying to make it. Right. She's making $25,000 a year. My question was, would other women see this and see this as the play? Say, hey, I am willing to undergo 15 minutes of vaginal irritation for $100,000. Do you think some women would do that, or do you think women in general would not do that? Not women in general, 24-year-old IG thoughts. Do you think that they would view this as a way to come up, or do you think women would not do this?
Well,
24-year-old IG thoughts.
I want to address the come up. I just typed in, what is the proper method of condom disposal? The best way of disposing of used condom is to wrap it in tissue paper and throw it away in a trash can. I can punch all kind of holes in what you think is proper and what has been told to me. I can punch all kinds of holes. I'm just saying. I'm not saying you're not right. I'm just saying there are many ways that men have been told to dispose of a condom.
We're not talking about men. We're talking about. We're talking about Drake.
Okay, well, we're all equal in the law league.
This man.
No, but lead attorney, you're wrong again. You're wrong again. Okay, Drake is still a man. He has crazy beliefs just like any other man. So we putting him up here, yeah, financial wise, yeah, that's fine. Doesn't mean the same principle doesn't apply to other men. There are thousands of stories out there of guys being baby trapped like this. It's not just Drake. There are women who willingly do this to average dudes. Like, you don't understand. Especially if that's a man the chick really wants. all right, they will do that. They will go after you go into the bathroom and dump your stuff to try to empty their contents within themselves. So when Kevin Samuels was making the conversation about all men, this happens to guys. This happens, right? And some girls go as far as poking holes in the condom before the guys do. That's why when I meet up with a girl and she already has a condom, it's just like, oh, no, turn. I got mine. We cool. We set. I got it in the car. We good. Because I don't trust that. You don't know. There's just too much, and we're just too sexually active to not take the right precautions. So you just saying that it's Drake and Drake should know better. No, he's not. He shouldn't. He's just a man like everyone else. They have strange beliefs, even stranger in Hollywood. So when we're talking about trying to put, it seems like you're trying to put all the responsibility here on Drake, even though Drake already took the precautions he needed to take. He created a deterrent. You can smell hot sauce. You know it has a distinctive smell. The bag had a look to it. Unless you willingly want to put bloody looking shit up your body, you should already know what the game was. She already knew what she was going and the intent she wanted to have going into it, right? If she looked at that bag and saw it was looking crazy, a sane person would say, okay, well, I'm probably gonna pass, right? For most people who aren't desperate enough, they'd probably look at the contents of that bag and say, I'll pass. It's not worth me dying. Me trying to secure the bag isn't worth me dying, right? But she was desperate enough to basically say, no, screw that. I don't care if it looks bloody. I don't care if it smells funky. I'm going to put that in because I want that bag. That's a problem because we have to talk about that kind of mindset. And we need to not only talk about that kind of mindset, but we also have a serious discussion of how many women out there have that kind of mindset. We need to have that discussion because it's serious. Like, how are we just going to let women walk around here just willingly doing that? And we had this happening with one of the biggest celebrities out there and not have a deeper conversation holding that one lady responsible because she learned it from somewhere. This is this kind of nonsense and the kind of pattern of behavior that leads society down a goddamn road to hell. We need to condemn this shit, man. We can't have young ladies. Listen, man. Listen. I got a kid. I got a daughter specifically, right? And one thing I worry about as a parent is like obviously there's only so many influence you can have as a dad, right? Before she goes out there in the real world and all these different things like social media and all that stuff gets access to her, right? And I know I'm gonna try to shove it off as much as I can, but I can't stave off eventually what's gonna happen. Right? She's going to be able to see some of these dumbass models acting in different ways, pretend that their life's great, and that's going to make her more insecure, right? What's going to stop her from replicating the behaviors? Because she saw that, hey, that chick got with Drake, and this is what she did, and she's getting paid X amount of money per month. Look at PJ Washington. That shit happened to him, and Brittany Renner's getting paid X amount of money a month. What if I go ahead, in order for me to secure the bag, go ahead and try this shit? No. What if she grows up hearing that nonsense, but seeing an army of women, good women, going out and say, no, you're not going to do this. Where's your sense of direction, young child? You are wrong. Women back in the day used to do this. Like we almost forgot. Women back in the day used to check and condemn this shit and weren't afraid to, which was the most important thing. There were women out there back in the day that weren't afraid to walk up to you and say, no. Have you no respect for yourself? This is how a lady is supposed to behave. Women held each other in check. Society held each other in check. But if we're walking around this world acting like we're going to just have a debate if Drake was responsible and not look at the obvious fucking giant elephant in the room, right? The giant pussycat in the room, which is this lady decided to take contents that was transformed in a way and put it in her body because she wanted to come up. This is something that leads to an important conversation of, hey, fame and desperation, we need to draw a line here. Are people actually genuinely crazy? Like, are people insane doing this kind of behavior? We need to have this deep discussion because that lady doesn't sound like she's mentally there. And that's where I also disagree with you, lead attorney. All right, I got to disagree with you because I don't think all ladies will be able to do this just for money. There are young ladies out there that will look at that bag and look at certain actions and say, okay, no, I'm not doing it. It's not worth the risk. I don't care how much money you pay me. It's not worth it. There are ladies out there that would do it, right? Now, some of these ladies that live on social media that would do anything that they will sell their souls to Fresh Prince CEO for a little bit of clout. Dumb ladies, They don't mind. They're goners. It is what it is. Ain't nothing you can do about that. But we still got ladies out there that would look at that and say, that smells a little funky. I'm not touching that. I'm sorry. I'm not touching that. So I can't agree with that, lead. I can't agree with that. But we do have women out here who are desperate enough to go ahead and do that on a mass scale. We do. So, Storytell, shout out to you for the $5 super chat. The smell of formula is a lot louder than Texas Pete. No, yeah, for a lot of love, for some ladies, yeah. No, for some ladies, absolutely. They'll do it. But here's the thing, and maybe I'm wrong, okay? I mean, I'm not saying I'm right. Maybe I'm wrong. But I tend to believe that a rational person who isn't going through some kind of mental, who hasn't gone through some shit throughout their life, who hasn't been through some kind of trauma, right? That would warrant them to think that seeing. Now, listen, I'm not saying there aren't women out there that wouldn't look at a condom and look at stuff that's in it. If it doesn't look crazy or smell crazy, they won't do it. I know chicks, you ain't got to be great value for them to do it. You could be broke as hell and they'll do that with, no question asked, right? But I'm talking about if they would look at a bag that obviously looks weird, looks different, okay, and will only put that in their bodies, I don't think so. Without actually questioning, I don't think so. But maybe she was the one that decided to take the bait. Because let's think about this. This ain't the first time Drake has done this. If you're willing to believe that this is the first time Drake has been putting hot sauce in his condoms, all right, I'm always going to tell you that you're crazy. All right, because you don't just randomly say, okay, I'm just going to, today, for this chick, I'm just going to put a hot sauce in a condom. Let's see what happens. No, clearly this has been a pattern of behavior from a lot of ladies he's probably been around with, all right? And most ladies he's probably been around with are probably smart enough to look at that condom bag and say, no, thank you. No, thank you. But one who, like I said, I got to look at the mental state and look at her upbringing, decide to look at that bag and say, you know what? Yeah, I'll go for it. Fuck it. I'll go for it. It's telling you the percentage is right there. Out of all the ladies he done fucked, all right, and he done the same shit, you're not going to tell me, all right, because my bullshit hat's on right now. You're not going to convince me that this is the first time Drake has done that shit. Clearly not. He's been doing this with multiple women. This ain't the first time. And those women he's done it with are smart enough to look at that bag, look at the content, and think two things. Either one, they got the message, and women, they're smart to get the message of what that means. Oh, okay, I know what he's on. Okay, he knows what game it is. All right, okay, whatever. We're not going to do it. Or two, you're crazy. That's the only two options. One, you already know the game when you saw that bag in the toilet, or not in the toilet, in the trash, right? You saw it in the trash, and you're like, okay, let me pick it up. That look weird. Okay, I'm not going to do that. Clearly, he don't want nobody fucking with that. Cool. I'm not going to do it, right? Or two, you saw that bag, you saw it was changed, you untied it, you clearly it smelled funny because you definitely would have gotten something on you, right? You definitely would have gotten something on you. So it would have smelled different, right? And you look past all of that and said, fuck it, I'm gonna do it. You're crazy. It's one of those two options. Because this is not the first time he's done it, and we're missing that argument. But I appreciate the super chat. Let's get back to it.
Thank you so much for coming up, Kevin. I really appreciate it, man.
Hey, where did I come up with this? You denature ethanol before you dispose of ethanol to make sure
He has to take her off the charts.
And that's the ultimate thing. You had not heard of the hot sauce thing.
I have.
I've heard of it for decades. So that's where I'm saying, just like you hadn't heard of it, I've heard of it. This is not new to a lot of guys. So this is security. It may be ineffective security. It may be it may have been an old wives' tale or something passed down from bad advice from somebody in medical. But what it is, it's starting a conversation. Because why would a man, let's just say the other side, why would a man like Drake go through such extraordinary measures only to fall at the finish line if his intent was to get a child?
What do you mean? Like he didn't want a child, right?
Drake often has, it is rumored that Drake often has parties with beautiful Instagram models around and he doesn't talk to any of them. They're just there more as party favor. In this story, it is very clear that Drake was extremely focused on getting consent.
True. Came
out with a condom on, and after he finished, he went through his security measures, flawed as they may be. His intent was to secure. Are we going to judge the method?
I gotta give point to Kevin Samuels. Because listen, I know people who'd be putting way worse shit than hot sauce. Remember, matter of fact, I used to do the bleach thing. That was me. Yep, me. I used to do the bleach thing and throw it in the trash. That was just me, right? I used to fuck around with it because I heard it from my bro. I heard it from my bros, bro. Windex good. I know. Guys do weird shit. So I realized, nah, just flush this shit. Like, what are we doing? Like, I don't want to touch this shit afterwards, bro. I don't want to be touching whatever, I don't want to. We're done. We're done. It's over with. I toss it, right? I don't want to touch it. So you got to understand. Like, I know people who carry little hot sauce keychains. Y'all realize there's hot sauce keychains out there, right? People got their own thing. like, what are we doing? All right, so when we talk about crazy, stupid superstitions or crazy rituals that human beings have, listen, man, it's true. It's fucking true. It's old white. Look at some of the weirdest shit that women tell themselves, right? Look what they did in the past, right? We used to wear goat skin in the past to not as you use for condoms, right? It worked, but wasn't as effective, right? But being that as it may, there are different things that people believe that would make them feel good, right? For instance, look at manifestation culture. Manifestation culture is the biggest scam that is plaguing black women today, all right? Because they will sell you a bunch of feel-good charm shit that'll say, hey, your life is going to get better if you just wear this or put this or you hang this up on your walls and shit like that, not realizing that, that shit ain't going to change. That shit going to help you elevate your mood or nothing. It's just propaganda. Look at Gwyneth Paltrow and Goop. All right. She was selling jade eggs that women were putting up their box. All right. Because it was supposed to help them feel better in their moods. Come to find out that, this shit's giving you bacterial infection. Right. So Hollywood, they have weird rituals. People believe in weird rituals. It's not that hard to have Drake see, okay, maybe this hot sauce thing that my bros are telling me that they're doing, maybe it works. I'm going to do that because, most broads, they probably will look at that and they won't fuck with it. It is what it is. Cool. But with lead attorney, when you're trying to ascribe intent to Drake that he was trying to do this on purpose, I got to disagree. So point here to Kevin Samuels.
True. He didn't intend to booby trap. He intended to secure. That's what I would argue.
And for those of you guys who are already coming in, all right, I'm going to let you know where my bias is at. My bias is flush. I'm team flush. All right. I flush. I'm a flusher. Okay. I am team flush. So that way y'all can't say I'm trying to do anything with this. Like I'm being as fair as possible. Even with my biases. All right. I'm agreeing with Kevin Samuels because he's making sense. KS, shout out to you. Thank you for the $5 super chat. Economic issue and emotional issues or apples and oranges, lead attorney. No, that's facts. Because it seemed like he was conflating two different arguments, but there was a lot of misunderstanding going on, right? There was a lot of misunderstanding going on. However, I do feel as though that when we're trying to introduce intent, into this conversation and responsibility, that's two different things. Because he was responsible for his security measures, like Kevin Samuels said. Right? We all heard it. He took his security measures. He took his protocol. Just like my protocol is flushing it down the toilet, Drake's, all right, is putting hot sauce in it. Maybe he bought one of those hot sauce packages. We don't know. But that's his ritual. The fact of the matter is he was responsible when he thrust it in the trash, all right? He got expressed intent, all right? Express intent. Like, guys right now, this is how crazy it is. We got to have you recorded on camera saying, yes, you want to fuck us. That's how crazy shit has gotten. All right, this is how wild this is. So y'all ladies out here getting mad at dudes for not being too forward. This is why, because now we got to literally videotape you before we have sex. That's how crazy shit is right now. So Drake is doing what Drake needs to do. So when we have all these different things laid out, he's definitely, you look at all the arguments saying he does not want to get a chick pregnant. He does not want to catch something, right? That's what his actions, getting the condom on, having sex with the condom on, tossing it, tying it before he gets rid of it. Those were his intent. And then Lee then goes around and says, well, no, he thought that on purpose. No, he purposely wanted to spite her. That doesn't make any sense, Lee. His intent can't be to be a deterrent and then simultaneously do it on purpose. That those two don't really conflate. So I got to lean with Kevin Samuels on this one. And I'm team flush. So it just goes to show you. So let's continue.
And I'd make the woman argue that her intent was to defraud.
Yes,
I heard a court of public opinion. And here's the thing: any dime she got, because there are so many men in in courtrooms, in the halls of power, who can see they are potential marks too. And this was set such a bad precedent. And like you said, Drake is not a gangster rapper with bad press. I mean, he did everything he could think of, whether it was right, wrong, or indifferent, to protect himself. And we're telling men that ain't good enough. Then you need to tell men what is good enough.
Fleshing it, Kevin. That's what's good enough. Let me ask you this, because there was a big disagreement in the chat, and really it was 50-50, and I'm surprised because I thought everybody was going to be on and see this as the play. Say, hey, I am willing to undergo 15 minutes of vaginal irritation for $100,000. Do you think some women would do that, or do you think women in general would not do that? Not women in general, 24-year-old IG thoughts. Do you think that they would view this as a way to come up, or do you think women would not do this?
Well,
24-year-old IG thoughts.
I want to address the come up. I just typed in, what is the proper method of condom disposal? The best way of disposing of used condom is to wrap it in tissue paper and throw it away in a trash can. I can punch all kind of holes in what you think is proper and what has been told to me.
We just did that for you, Kevin. Don't worry about it. We did the pole punching for you because Lead was not making sense. He simply was just not making sense on this one. All right, but we got you, bro.
I can punch all kinds of holes. No, I'm just saying. I'm not saying you're not right. I'm just saying there are many ways that men have been told to dispose of.
Hey, we got to get at least 100 likes if you guys want to do a call-in show.
Condom.
We're not talking about men. We're talking about. We're talking about Drake.
Okay, well, we're all equal to the law, Lead.
This man, there was $4.3 million in that condom. You're supposed to wrap it up in a tissue.
Lady Justice is blind. We're all equal under the law, Lee. I know what you're saying, but you know what I'm saying. I'm telling you, I'm advocating for my client. I will get up on the Constitution and bump this one up and down. We're all equal under the law, Lee. He did what he did. All you do is type in proper condom disposal. Where men talk this stuff. Just like you say, flushing it is the right method. I can pull up folks that will say, hey, hot sauce and put it in the microwave is the right method.
That's interesting, though. Okay, I see what you're saying. That's interesting. When you pulled it up and it said to wrap it up and put it in tissue paper and throw it away, fair enough. I'll introduce that into evidence.
Conserve energy future. Where did it biodegradable? Go ahead.
Where did it say though that before you put it in tissue paper and before you wrap it up, you spike it with Tabasco hot sauce? Where did it say that in your article?
Well, it doesn't.
Well, it didn't say that specifically. And see, this is the equivalency we're trying to do here. We got to watch the verbiage. Okay, no, he did not say that. Lead attorney. Okay, lead attorney. He was specifically referencing that article. Okay, it didn't. Obviously, the article said the best way to dispose. The best way was tissue paper. All right. He didn't list off any of the facts about, hot sauce and whatnot, because it's not going to. However, because that's a different method of doing things. All right. And you will find that on different websites or different things. I don't know if you'll find it on different websites, but you'll find different people saying different things. For instance, my homies will tell me about the whole bleach thing in the condom. All right. Throw bleach in there when you're done and toss it. Guys believe in dumb shit. All right, just because he's Drake, he's high value, don't mean shit. He can still be dumb. Look what Brittany Renner said. Y'all forgetting the first cardinal principle rule of Brittany Renner. All right, anyone who's a rapper and or athlete is by definition stupid. All right, now Drake may be a little smarter than some of these other dumb rappers and athletes, but he's still a human being. He's still a rapper at the end of the day. He's dumb. All right. So he's dumb enough to believe that carrying a little pack of hot sauce is definitely going to prevent babies. Otherwise, why would he take that risk? If he knew he was taking a risk, why would he do it? Someone like Drake tries to make his least amount of controversial moves as possible. That's just who Drake is. So if we know who he is and the type of guy, why would he go through all of that trouble just to do something that he didn't believe would work? It don't make sense. Clearly, this was a deterrent factor, and the chick, because she had the intent to try to trap this dude with a baby, decided to bypass all of those security measures, all those protocols he put in place to shove a bloody-looking condom in her box. Because hot sauce, I mean, you mix it up with your man juice, it looks a little funky, it smells a little funky. So you should know that something's wrong with this. So what are we talking about here? Nixon Talk, shout out to you for the $10 Australian Super Chat. Men don't wear condoms. Men are irresponsible. Blah. Men wears one and still tries to get played. They're still to be seen as though in the wrong for having flushed it when it shouldn't matter. Thank you. This is why I don't agree with the argument lead attorney is making, because it's like, damn if we do, damn if we don't. We actually have to start taking stances now. If women are going to do this despite of the protections we're going to put in place, well, you need to start facing consequences, because what the fuck are we doing now? Okay, you make one law that's negatively impacting men. We skirt it by doing this way. Then you make another law negatively impacting men. Then we do this way. How much do we have to take until we're back into the corner and say, what the fuck do you want us to do? Look at Me Too, right? Now women are mad because men aren't mentoring them anymore. Men aren't sitting in meetings with them behind closed doors, because the way most women get ahead in corporate America is by having one-on-one time with their boss. Not saying most of them are sleeping with them or anything like that. That's not the case, all right? Maybe a little bit, but I'm not saying all of them are doing that. I'm just saying a woman's influence is getting a man alone and working herself with him, right? Some women, they did rely on the charms and stuff like that too, but the charms also part of the whole charisma. All right. So if you can't get that alone time with your boss, well, guess what? Your influence won't matter to him, right? If he's got to have another woman sit in the room, well, guess what? That woman is hip to your game. So she's not going to play around with it. So women are complaining in the workforce right now from a problem they created. All right. Now, Me Too has done some wondrous things and positive things and exposed the Harvey Weinsteins of the world. But let's not sit here and pretend that women aren't using this for their benefit. They're not using this for their advantage. Now we've gotten to the point where anything can mean anything. Right? A man looks at you wrong, that's harassment. Now we get a lawsuit, right? A man, taps you on the shoulder, that's sexual assault. Like, there has to be a stop. Because even now with stuff like video cameras, right? When a guy, what if they start saying, okay, well, you recorded me and I didn't consent to that, right? And then she takes the person to court and then they win in court. Now men can't even get visual and verbal consent to engage in sexual activity, right? You took away the fact that, so if a woman's out drinking, the man can't drink. The man has to be completely sober. Otherwise, it's assault. Or if he is drunk and he's having sex with her, well, he still gets in trouble because it's still considered assault. Like, what the fuck are we doing? Like, it's just like the whole COVID thing when it happened. Like, when people start to see the inconsistency within the rules, they stop believing your damn propaganda that it's about equality and being fair and all this shit like that. They'll see it for the goddamn trap you guys are setting for. And it's not, but to be fair, it's not all these ladies, because a lot of ladies are just following the rules of certain ladies who have a certain a vendetta against men. Either they're not getting dick or they're not really getting far in society, and they're using these type of freaking mechanisms like Me Too to bludgeon a lot of high-powered dudes over the head to kowtow into these kind of laws. But when weak men kowtow to strange laws, well, guess what? Fucked up rules happen. And when fucked up rule happens, society suffers. Because there's no direction. No, literally, there's no direction. We're sitting here having a conversation what men are supposed to do. The reason why we're having this conversation is because there's no guideline. There's no direction. Even with this virus illness thing, there's no direction. There's no guidelines. And it's too late now. If you bring out any kind of guidance or precaution, people are going to listen to you because you've already bumbled and fucked it up in the past. You've proven that you're willing to lie, cheat, steal from the people that you're supposed to be protecting. So why should they listen to you? The same thing when we see laws like this. When we see laws of women or certain people of certain genders or racial classes or political classes are getting away with the same things that you're supposed to be telling us that we're supposed to be equal under the law, we don't take your laws seriously. This is why society suffers, because we're too freaking out of here. We need to be straight. We need to be consistent with what the goddamn rules are, especially when it comes to sexual access, when it comes to the idea of dating. If we're not going to have government intervention in this shit, then we need to stop this crap altogether. And everybody just go do their own thing. Because the way we're headed, it's going to be disastrous for not only men, but for women. Women actually are going to be the ones to be hurt by this. Overwhelmingly hurt by this. That's why it's more important for you guys to speak up. Y'all are already talking about you guys are starved for men, right? You're starved for masculine men, real masculine men. Well, guess what? You let your sisters keep pushing this kind of narrative, you'll be even more starved for men, because more men are going to be afraid to either speak up or going to get angry to the point they're going to just resent the opposite sex. And we're already seeing that in this space. Let's not pretend it's not happening. It's already in this space. A lot of men who are being hurt by these laws, these stupid-ass bullshit, wishy-washy laws, who are flooding into the space with that kind of anger and fervor. And we already know a majority of dudes out here, they're going to be incels. And we already know how incels, like, who haven't had box because they can't. You already know how they behave. They wild out and start often and deleting people in mass. That's the dangerous side when men get confused on how to seek what they're biologically wired to seek. If you make that process more confusing for them, they act out in other ways and women get hurt. Let's just be real. Not even just women, children get hurt. People get hurt. And there's going to be more of those type of diets coming out there. So governments, you got to, if you want to stop this whole mass deleting, mass suicide, mass all these nonsense with dudes and with females, you need to put, it starts with the relationships and the dynamics of it. You guys implementing all these different rules and fucking up the way nature had it set up, that's the problem. There's like so much into this, man, but like we got to stop this mess. Like we have to, and it's so clear cut. It's so clear cut. Right now, guys are feeling damned if we do, damned if we don't. Young men, when they grow up, with all these rules that they put in place when I was coming out, now these young men coming out, how they're going to be trying to follow these damn rules. They don't know what the fuck to do. They're going to be so goddamn confused, just sitting there like, okay, well, do I talk to her? Do I not? It's so confusing. I got to fill out a fucking application to fucking fuck her. That's what I got to do, right? To get the box, I got to fill out a goddamn application. I got to stand in line, take a number. Is that what it is? Like, what are we doing? Where are we headed? And we have to start having these discussions. Peter Investor, shout out to you. Thank you for the $5 super chat. I appreciate you, brother. Where we at for likes? I want to do a call-in. I want to see what you got. I want to see what the congregation thinks about this. I want to see what the congregation thinks about it. We are 6 more likes to 100 people. 6 more likes and we get the call-in on. I'm going to put the link in the chat since we're so damn close. And then y'all can pin it. But we'll go ahead. I'll pin it. And then we'll go ahead and continue with this. And once we get 100, y'all can just start filing in. And then we'll go ahead and kick this going. But let's continue.
Say that, but
it doesn't say that.
No. I just said it's just one line, but just like, where does it say when you go get water, you get a straw? But in the South and for Black people, that's a commonality. I'm a server, and when you go serve non-Black people water, but they walk around with straws specifically for Black folks because it is a commonality that we tend to ask. I'm just
that
saying,
is true. I didn't know that, but I always ask for straws.
Exactly, and it makes no sense because when you wash the most of the germs are not on the lip; it's at the bottom with the backwash. But because we got all these Southern traditions, ooh, don't put your lips on where them folks have and so forth. The problem's the backwash. You sticking your straw into the thing you're trying to avoid. That's what I'm saying. I'd argue this up and down, but let's go on to the next part. $24,000 up to so forth, trying to get it come up. You know what I would do if I felt like I was losing this case? I'd go for custody. All right, cool. I'm gonna pay you out $20,000, and you're gonna pay me child support, Trick.
Oh, right.
I'm a better parent. I got the resources. I got the means. I got the au pair. I got the student. I got the structure. I got the subject support. I put her ass on child support, and I would make her a cause célèbre.
I love it. I love it.
That me, I'm fucking with the best, baby. I'm telling you, this is about men's rights. You got to stop this stuff. He has the means. Use the courts to his advantage. I didn't want the child. Right. You didn't want the child. You, unfortunately, a night of weed and alcohol-filled sex, you made a bad decision. I made a bad decision up front. I'll give you $50,000 for burning your coochie, but I want the baby. And after I get the baby. Okay, I got the baby. Then you get served with child support. Boom!
I love it.
It's mine. You get served with child.
I've always wondered that too, right? With the whole child support situation, because I've gone through it, right? If the parent is better able to take care of the child, why don't we just give the full custody to the parent that's better able to take care of the child, and then the other person can work out some kind of vegetation, whether it's 50-50 or whatever it is, right? They can work out some kind of living arrangement where, you know, the kid doesn't have to go back and forth. It's stable, honest, and, you know, straightforward, and it's less stress, right? Not saying that it's not important, but we gotta stop the stuff of like separating households and things like that. All right, because why we just, I mean, if you guys don't see this as anything other than a wealth transfer scheme, I don't know what else to tell you. Like, I really don't know what else to do. This is nothing else but a pure wealth transfer scheme. Because if it was the true best interest of the child, what I never understand is why not just leave him with the parent that's more than capable of taking care of the child. And Kevin Samuels, aka, has another point here. He has another point here. He's got me. Because I would sue for custody. I'm fucking Drake. Why not? Like, why not? I can take care of that kid 10 times over. So why give you child support? Matter of fact, I don't even think I should pay you a fine. I'm going to pay the state a fine. Yep. I'll pay you a $20,000 fine for spiking my content, lead attorney. I didn't like that verbiage, man. But for mixing my content with certain things to protect myself. I'm sorry. I'll take that fine, but I'm not giving her this money. She doesn't deserve that kind of cash. For what? Rewarding bad behavior? We already know if she did this, if she's willing to do this, she don't care about that child. She cared about what she can get out of that child. That child's nothing but a tool to her. I'll make that argument in court. Hell yeah. Give me the child. Because if she's willing to be that irresponsible to put contents from a stranger she just met into her body after it was mixed and tied and clearly put in a situation where you should not tamper and you tampered with it, I'm sorry. I can't rock with that. I'm going to take care of the kid and you get visitations. And then that right there serves as a deterrent for any other lady out there thinking they're going to get away with this mess, baby trapping. You better be ready to lose your baby. No. If you're willing to baby trap, be ready to lose that kid. That should be the new motto. If you go on baby trap, be ready to lose that child. And if they can prove it, you better be ready to prove that or lose that child. And I guarantee you, because women, the one thing they care more than a man, care about more than a man is their kids. They will quickly throw their man under the bus for their children. Like that. So you threaten to take that away, a lot of women will think twice. Like, but there needs to be some form of consequence. We can't keep letting people get away with this shit. Like, we can't. Otherwise, the stories are going to keep getting way too ridiculous. Just way too ridiculous. Do we need to have some kind of stop? But I appreciate that, man. What we got here? Call-in links open, guys. Call links open. All right? It's open. Let's have a conversation. Let's do this. All right? So while we're waiting for people to file in, all right, let's talk about who won this debate. All right? In my book, let me ask you guys before I give you my thoughts on who won. All right? Put a 1 in the chat right now if you believe that Kevin Samuels won this debate. Put a 2 in the chat for lead attorney. 1 for Kevin Samuels, 2 for lead attorney. Who won this debate going back and forth, right? The debate, the great condom debate. Who won that shit? Kevin Samuels, put a 1, put a 2 for his lead attorney. I'll wait. And the call-in link's open, people. File in. Oh, yeah, there's a winner. There's a winner for sure. Sheba, I think that's how you say your name. There's a winner, baby. There's a winner. I'm going to tell you at the end, but I want to hear what y'all think. 1 for Kevin Samuels, 2 for lead attorney. Let me hear it. Calling links pinned. You can go ahead and access it. Let's go ahead and debate this right now, guys. I love this damn chat. Yeah, there was a clear winner, and that winner was Kevin Samuels. All right? Whoa! Duke, what? What? I thought you were team flush, Duke. I thought you were team flush. How can you sit there and say Kevin Samuels won? Because Kevin Samuels made sense. Kevin Samuels made freaking sense. All right, he was. I mean, even though I don't agree with team no flush or I do think guys should flush their content, right? As an added measure, I still think he won that. He made a lot of points. We need to have some level of deterrent. And for those of you guys, it seems like you guys believe you guys are on the same wavelength. So you guys are thinking. Y'all had your BS hats on, and you already know Kevin Samuels won that debate. He's absolutely right. The responsibility goes on a particular woman who did this, and men need to have stronger protections under the law to protect themselves against these different things, right? Sure, we have all these other methods, birth control and all these different stuff, right? Or not birth control, vasectomies and other forms and condoms and stuff, spermicide, but still, we need certain protections for women who bypasses these already limited measures that we have to go ahead and infringe on our rights. Right? Because what the fuck? If we toss our stuff in the trash, we should have a right to say that's where it goes. We don't. It's clear and visible that we don't want a baby. We don't want any kind of nonsense with that. So why are we even having a discussion and letting women get away with this stuff? This shit has to end. So I say, for me, and you guys have voted with me, Kevin Samuels. All right, I have to say, all right, lead attorney. You know, if you want to have like a legal argument, not saying that he didn't bring up some good points, because yes, I'm wholeheartedly believe in flushing. All right, lead, I'm with you. I'm team flush. You know, guys, you're not doing nothing. All right, but I'm just gonna say, legally, you may have a point, but realistically, I mean, we gotta. We got to have a serious conversation here, man. We got to, especially about women like this in the media. We just have to have a serious conversation now. Primal, shout out to you. Welcome to the building. How you doing, brother?
Not too bad. Yourself, my man?
We doing good. We're doing good. So before we go in, all right, flush or no flush?
Burn.
All right, what are your thoughts on this?
Drake has enough money where he should have a freaking like incinerator little firebox in his bathroom, and he should just burn that, just toss it and burn it. I mean, but here's the thing, and I'll push back a little bit on the whole Drake's just a man, right? Well, here's the thing: when you get to a certain level in life, you have to realize that you have a target on you. Like, let's say you're making 100K or $1 million or whatever it is. Like, there's a new level of target on you at that point. You need to be aware of that, and you need to up your standards and up your game and up your knowledge to reflect that. Otherwise, your money's going to get taken from you really quickly. What do they say? A fool and his money are quickly parted. Well,
that's true.
That's going to be Drake, right? So as you level up in life and as you make something more of yourself, you can't just be a man anymore. Like, you have to be a better man.
So let me ask this. What about the whole precautions that he took? Right, wrapping a condom tight, filling it with condoms as some kind of de-agent or denaturing agent, right? And what are your thoughts on that? Because I mean, the argument lead attorney was saying, okay, well, you're Drake, you should already know better. But we know that there are examples of women doing the same thing with guys who are not like that. We know that. So, I mean, that's where my argument comes from. Like, he's just like any other dude that this would have happened to, right? If any woman would try to baby trap, this is the kind of method that she would get. Right now, do I agree that he could have been smarter and flush it? Because I'm team flush. Yeah, he should have flushed it. But the argument would be, okay, does he have a right to just toss it in the trash because that's his seed?
It is, but here's the thing. And when we were talking about like proving it, how could Drake go back and prove that the condom didn't break while they were having sex?
That's true.
He can't prove that. And then condoms are not 100% effective. They're 98% effective if used properly. So who's to say, how's he going to stand on a legal ground and say, nope, used a condom, 100% couldn't have happened? No, there's a 2% chance that she still got to have gotten pregnant, even with the condom used properly. So he wouldn't have a legal ground to stand on. He could say it's not very likely, but when it comes to making babies and that kind of thing, you're going to get smoked in the, well, it wasn't very likely. There's still a chance, right? So you're in a bad way. Like, you're in a bad way.
I would say that, but don't you think that opens up like a Pandora's box door of like almost anything could be used as that kind of excuse, and it kind of goes hand in hand with the Harmony Pills super chat here. Shout out to you. Thank you for the $5 super chat. Drake can bring some of her IG thirst trap photo to court and use them as supporting evidence, right? You can use that and say, hey, listen, man, this is the way she portrayed herself. We can even talk about conversations that she said that this was, how she is, and she portrayed herself in a different way. Matter of fact, it can even go as far as to say, and lawyers can argue this, like, hey, listen, all right, when I woke up the next day or when we got into bed, her eyelashes were fake. All right, it started falling off and hanging off, and it turns out like half her face was fake. Okay, so she tricked me into putting the condom on, and then gets to a point of releasing my seed and not doing that. So she should blame, and it gets to the point where just in a position of ridiculousness, right? Because now we're arguing. It's the same thing with like the whole LGBTQ thing, right? And I have to relate it to that because think about it. Now everyone can say, well, I'm type A and I'm type B, and the type B, for difference from type B and type A, means I have this different type of a set of rules that apply to me. And then you have B, C, Q, X, Y, Z, till you have the whole alphabet down there because everybody wants to feel different and special, right? And it's like, okay, now we just open this box. Now everybody's everything. Oh, great. Now I'm further confused on what the fuck to do and how to prosecute this if this ain't to come to law. What the fuck? You see what I'm saying? So don't you think that would go that direction?
I think anytime a man has sex with a woman, there's a chance she could get pregnant. It doesn't matter what you do. Like, there is a chance. Other than not having sex, there is no 100% guarantee way. You could have a vasectomy, you could use a condom, you could use birth control, you can use all the things. But there's still a chance. So you're still liable. You're still liable. Like, she could have a baby and that wasn't the plan. She could have been trying and you could have not been trying, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
We can't say that wasn't a plan because we knew what her plan was. She
but it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter.
That's true.
Women,
and she can make that
women
argument.
have been baby trapping men since the beginning of time.
That's true.
And do you think that's going to change now?
It's not, but the laws need to catch up.
Do you think the laws will actually change?
Not if men.
No,
I would say
no,
this.
no,
they won't
no,
change.
no,
They
no,
won't
no,
change
no,
until.
no.
Listen. You can only push a human being so far before they start to do something. It won't change until something like that starts to happen, whether in another country or something like that. Look at they got different countries like Canada, Australia, New Zealand, right, where these kind of laws where they're pushing further and further men down a corner. They're getting too much. It's getting crazy. All of a sudden, we might even get to. I can envision. I had a weird dream, right? Not onto MLK shit, but a dream. All right, that one day, like, this manosphere could get big enough to the point where it gets political, right? And not only, which it kind of already is already, but to the point where you have actually a serious political pull where things like this and changes like this could happen. Like, that's real, because all this stuff, a mass movement like this, organized well, what does it turn into? It turns into a serious movement with serious money flowing right through it. And when you have a serious movement with a case to burn, all right, and you got like passionate people behind it, like the manosphere, that's going to be real. It only takes one president to look at the space and acknowledge it, right? The same thing with Obama in 2008 with the whole LGBTQ nonsense, right? And the whole gender wars and stuff like that and all that. It wasn't really mainstream until the highest man in office acknowledged it. Right, that's when I realized because I'm Obama, team Obama all the way, right? I was, right, but when I saw that, I was like, oh shit, you just legitimized the ridiculousness of this fringe people, and now their voices are gonna be the loudest. Fast forward now, 2022, who is the loudest voice you hear in all of media right now? The people on the other side who advocate for these dumb ideas because they were validated. So I can imagine a world where out of this space, it just takes one leader in the highest amount of office to validate this for shit to actually really change, for the real backing, the real movement to take place. I'm not saying that that's going to happen anytime soon. I'm just saying that could be a possibility.
And I guess here's the thing is, I think
so the laws could change.
For every man that's willing to walk away, there's 10 men that will step in.
Oh, Poppy,
and
they can hear you typing.
There's for every man that's willing to walk away, there's 10 more men that are going to step in and simp for whatever lady and do whatever she wants. And that's the facts of it.
That's true. But there's no denying there's going to be more hurtful men that are going to be coming out to do this. Shout out to you, Poppy. Welcome to the conversation. How you doing, brother? Another panelist, guys. If you guys haven't subscribed to either of these two guys' channels right now, you better go ahead and do it because you don't know what you're missing. So please, let's get their stuff in. And you guys backstage, we'll get you guys up too as well. We're just we're doing it one at a time to hear you guys' thoughts individually, and then we'll go ahead and get a group debate going in. So, Poppy, flush or no flush? What is your question? What is your answer?
Man, I guess, man. I mean, first of all, I hope you're having a good night.
Shout out.
I hope everybody's good. Another thing, I honestly don't believe this story at all, bro. This sounds real crazy to me. I heard some wild shit.
You're going the whole conspiracy route.
Yo, I heard, no, for real. I heard some wild shit in my life. I never heard about a man putting hot sauce in a condom. That's like a 2-string, yo. Like,
no.
I
used to put bleach in mine.
I heard about the Windex. I heard about the bleach, but let's just forget the part what I believe. Let's just say the story is true, right? Let's just go from there. this guy Drake, right? This guy he smashed old girl, right? He go to the bathroom, he put out the Louisiana hot sauce, and you have to aim it inside the cunt. Look at how much of the hard work that is, yo. You have to aim it, right?
Yeah.
Then he said he put a knot on it. He tied it up.
I ain't gonna jack, bro. Like, if it's a girl I just met, I'm not touching my condom like that, bro. Especially after I just pulled out, because I don't know what she's got. Like, I get, like, if it's a girl first time, like if I just met her and we like it was off of Tinder or some shit, like I'm not like I'm usually literally I grab a paper towel and just like pull that shit off and toss it in the toilet, dog.
No,
I don't touch it.
But look.
Because you don't know. You don't know what the fuck's on that right now. Until I know, you don't know.
Throw it in the garbage. Throw it in the garbage. And homegirl come back. She come to the bathroom rushing because she knew. Oh my God, that's drunk man milk over there. She go in the garbage, untie it. She forget about the part that the condom is red. Like it's some red stuff going in there. So in her mind, she think, oh, it must be Drake, man milk plus his goddamn blood. Oh, I'm good over here. I'm gonna get a real Drake baby, a pure blood baby.
Nah, see that hey, even taking that kind of risk, that's the thing that baffled me, right? So like, cause and then it goes to the super chat, Billy Black 3712. Shout out to you for the $5 super chat, right? Because it talks about the intent, it talks about all of that, right? Because then that's what with the whole bloody thing. Now I have to ask you a question about her intent, right, Poppy? Right? And he says you can't. Well, hang on, let me get the super chat. He says you can't prove she was trying to baby trap in the court, but that burning holler from the bathroom is a verbal confession. What are your thoughts on that?
Yo, this is wild, bro. This is some wild stories, man.
Well, I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy. Before the billions, shout out to you. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the stream. Shout out to you. All right, so I got to ask the question before the billions, all right?
Yes, sir.
Flush or no flush? What's the answer? What's your answer?
Man, I am on the flush side. I say flush.
Team Flush, we got another one.
But I mean, like, even if you didn't flush it down the toilet, why not at least like rinse it out in the sink or something like that?
Yeah.
Same thing, you know.
But it kind of goes back to what Poppy was talking about, where like the kind of logistics to kind of handle the content afterwards. Personally, this is where I agree with lead attorney because that's just too much work, bro. I just flush
for real.
You know, there's a one-time procedure that would eliminate a lot of these conversations on meetings, right? You do realize that.
Here we go. Here we go. Hey, well, enlighten us, because we're having a conversation.
I'm just saying, for young men out there that are making their way through the world, I would highly encourage you to at least investigate vasectomies because it's under 40, easily reversible, 90+% reversal rate under 40. You could have your kids later if you wanted. You could save some sperm and freeze it for when you wanted. You could have a baby when you choose. You need to be, as a man, you need to be in control of when you have a child, right? And what's happening out in the world is, I would say the large majority of men are not actively choosing to have a child. They are having sex and somebody's getting pregnant, and then they're not choosing to have a baby. The woman is making the choice on whether they're going to have the baby or not, and then the man has to go along with it. Give yourself back that power.
What would you say to young men, though? Because that's like when you say the snip, I got to push back a little bit, right? What would you say to the men? I'm particularly projecting because I'm speaking kind of myself here. But what do you say to the guys who say, okay, what if we undergo this type of procedure, but it's not reversible? Like I can't like now I'm worried that like what I felt makes me a man, I can't do that no more. Like I can't. Like, see what I'm saying? I don't know how it would feel. Like I guess you can still nut and whatnot, but it's not the same. Like, what would you say to those young men, particularly me?
Well, I would say save your stuff before, have it frozen, and do your medical research and your due diligence. If you're under 40, you have a 90+% chance of a successful reversal. I've known many men in their 40s that got divorced, already had a couple kids, got remarried to somebody that didn't have kids, and then were 42, 43, 44, and they married a girl that was 26, 27, 28. They had the reversal done, and then they had a couple more kids because that's what they chose to do. There's a very good statistical chance. Is it a guarantee? No, but there's no guarantees in life. But if you told me I had a 98% chance of preventing an unwanted pregnancy, how many men are wrecked by unwanted pregnancies, and how many children are wrecked by unwanted pregnancies?
No, you have an absolute point. I just think that'd be a tough sell though for I won't just say young men, but for most guys because it's so invasive. You know, no,
it's not.
Getting
it's
surgical,
not invasive.
right? It's not.
It's a 30-minute procedure in your doctor's office. You get a local injection. They make a couple cuts. And you're done. You walk out the same day. You're on a 3-day weightlifting restriction. I went to work the same night that I had.
Fuck, bro! I ain't going nowhere. I'm gonna lay my ass up, my feet up.
It's Superman.
Hey,
I mean, PTO day.
On my balls.
Hey, Primal's a savage, dude. He went to work the same night.
Hey, I would tell you this, but also I want to have this a larger conversation, but I want to do it after I introduce you, Grover. Shout out to you. But the main conversation, don't let me you guys have to forget this, right? Would be what first of all, okay. What are other, like, should we start thinking about other methods outside of that? But if let's say vasectomies were the only surefire way for us to truly control our seed and what happens, well,
but that's not even a true. That's not even a surefire. It's not even a surefire. I don't want to say it's like a guarantee.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's not surefire. I won't say guarantees, but overall, it's supposed to help, mitigate the chances of pregnancies, right? So, okay, I want to know what the outcome would be like, at least for men. Like, whose favor would that fall in line to, right? More of the men or more of the women? Because we also have arguments of women who would say on the other side, because I got to play devil's advocate here, right? On the other side, who would say, well, no, guys need to control their seed, right? So if all guys or majority of men start to adopt this vasectomy option or these different types of options, there are more I would say would have higher chances of working, right, versus condoms and all the other things, right? What would be that outcome for men and women? Whose control would that be? And I want to have an open discussion about that. Grover Reed, shout out to you. Welcome to the stream. Let's go ahead and have this conversation. All right. So, Grover, I got to ask you this question. All right. Flush or no flush? What's your answer?
Okay. So I can say I've never flushed. I've never flushed a condom. Right. And I've also made it about 48 years and some change with no unwanted pregnancies and no side children. And I've been very active, to say the least. Okay. I've been, when I was young, like you good looking folks, it was a good time for a brother, But here's the thing. And salute to all you guys, Poppy, everybody, folks I don't know, respect. And I always like to start off by saying good evening. I hope everybody's family's well. I hope everyone's doing well, because that's what we're talking about anyway. I just have a hard time understanding two things about this whole conversation. Number one, you have to choose who you spend your time with, no matter what level you are in life. What kind of trash ass hood rat digs through a goddamn garbage for a condom?
Yeah.
I mean, let's just be honest with ourselves.
Thank you.
I've had I've been at the bar at 3 a.m. and take somebody home that I shouldn't, and that would never happen. Okay, I mean, we have to take responsibilities for ourselves who we put ourselves around. Second of all, we have to look at just the reality of it. She stole from that man. That was theft. That's the same as if she took. I got weapons all through my house. If she took a weapon out of my house without me, he kept it in his house. If she took a weapon out of my house,
even worse actually.
But Grover, if you put it in the trash, is it still considered your property? Or
the trash is inside of my house. Until I take that trash out, it's my goddamn property, and that's in every state. That was
the opening argument Kevin Samuels had. That was his organ argument, to be fair. And I also had the same argument too, where it's just like, all right, man, well, listen. If we're gonna then say if who's this property belongs, like she did this opens up a whole different case. And because here's the thing, what's not happening here is a conversation of the mental state this woman had to be in, right? Because that's what we have here. Because obviously Drake this isn't the first. I made this argument before. This isn't the first time he must have done this. Clearly he's done this before, right? How many on this panel right now believe this is the first time you're hearing that Drake has put hot sauce in the condom bag?
No.
Like, how many? Kristen, you genuinely believe this is the first time Drake has done this?
It could be. I really don't know.
Knowing Drake, and this is Drake. All right, this isn't something he has done this before. Okay, I can't believe that he hasn't done this. And he not only has done it before, he's probably done this with other women, right? But we haven't heard these same stories with other women. So clearly, one was dumb enough, or I would say, I don't know what you would call it, smart or dumb, to say, hey, let me try this. It looks weird and crazy and bloody looking. Let me just shove this on here because,
man, it's a very common practice to put hot sauce in condoms in Texas, Louisiana, bro.
Hey,
it's a very common practice. It's also, I mean, I'm just telling you folks I always thought it was stupid. And I always thought, like, who the hell would do that? But there's all types of home remedies that people give you that your uncles and your homeboys tell you that just makes absolutely no sense.
My dog used to say bleach.
Bleach, all types of stuff. I mean,
this shit don't work.
Poor girl, yo.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, it's when I heard it, and everybody was like, how could he do that? And I was like, people still do that. And so maybe my perspective is a little different on it. You know, the larger perspective to me is just, who are you spending your time with? I mean, we have to start taking accountability as men of who we give our time to. And we can slice it any way, but we're responsible for it because we take the brunt of the punishment in this country, you know. Because let me tell you something. I know we like to talk about you know, oh well, England and New Zealand, but guess what? Somebody did that in Thailand, they're on their damn own. Somebody did that in the Philippines, they're on their own.
Yeah.
Somebody did that in a lot of different countries, they're on their own. In the West, we take responsibility, we take the brunt of the man. We pay the cost to be the boss. Except we ain't the boss no more. So it sucks. You know, so but we have to be honest with who we're spending our time with and what we're gonna do. And you know, it's just like I see a lot of people, they want to argue the point of how it's not right or how it's wrong. And I'm telling you, it doesn't make a difference if it's right or wrong. Because I could put up 9,000 posts from my comment section where accountability is like kryptonite to the average woman. I know I stole it from Kevin Samuels. But so if we're living in a delusional world where people aren't going to take accountability anyway, we have to be more careful. It's just like I was told coming up, I got to be 15 times better than everybody to make it.
Yeah.
I had to do it. I had to take it
true.
on my own.
So and before, so I'm gonna hold up this question before we actually let's kind of dive into it real quick before we introduce Tristan. And that was the question we posed before regarding primal and the whole vasectomies, right? So if guys start to mass adopt this, right, what would you guys think would be the possible outcome for relationship dynamics? Anybody can toss in.
Repeat the question again.
So if men start to adopt vasectomies and other like serious, more effective forms of pregnancy prevention, right? Because what would be the outcome for men and women dynamics, or at least this kind of situation we have going on, right? Would we see that the power swinging or the pendulum swinging into the men's favor? Do you see it swimming into the benefit of women? What do you guys see as a potential outcome for this type of dynamic if men in mass started adopting these vasectomies, you know, these different options where they try to remove as much control from the woman as possible? Do you think women are going to be up in arms as a result, trying to get laws to change so men can stop using vasectomies and start using guys? Like, what would you guys think, in your opinion? Just a thought experiment would be the possible outcome. And we'll start with you.
Doesn't everybody have a story of a buddy that his girlfriend stopped taking birth control without telling him?
Yeah,
I got a couple of those.
Okay, why is that?
Yeah, exactly.
Why is that? Because, man, the way the rules is, bro. The way the rules is like once that main meal left your body, boy, you don't have absolutely no right. It's over for you.
Yeah, that's true.
So in Drake's situation, man, Drake is better off. Yes, Drake have enough money to have like a in-house doctor. Like he should have an in-house abortion doctor, something like that. Like as soon as he shoot it in, he should have like a whole medical team right there to pull it out.
What the fuck? Well, all right. Hey, you ready to bust? Hey, Drake, you ready? Oh, all right. Hey, get the net ready. Get the net ready. All right.
I'll throw out here's a hot take for you. Hot take for guys like Drake. If you're gonna sleep with Instagram models that you have a high suspicion they're gonna try to baby trap you, you might as well just hire a pro.
Yeah, but okay. Here's the thing. Here's another question that poses then, right? Another question that poses then for guys to then try to mitigate this. Should we then stop like dealing with low value women? And by low value women, you know how some of the guys. No. Here's the thing. You know how and by low value women, Poppy. Here's what I mean. By women that actually have something to lose, like some of these famous guys, right? Because we see the inverse relationship when it's rich women versus poor dudes, right? Because they don't like that game when it's reversed against them. So if we're gonna change up that dynamic, should guys then stop vetting for chicks who are like in a lower social economical class than them and start dealing with women from the same cloth or similar cloth that equally have something to lose? Or are they more willing to kind of stay in and not try to like fuck things over, or, you know, because I know there are girls, and I've dated some of these girls too, who I don't know. I don't want to say their family has like pedigree or whatnot, but they have a certain way that they have to do things. Like they can't absolutely not have a baby. They can absolutely not do any kind of nonsense that could jeopardize where it is they're going. And it's not so much about them. It's more about the community around them and what they think if they were to fall out into some of these things. Some of them, they don't want it to be known that they're dealing with a brother.
You know, in Silicon Valley, it's very common out here where I live for somebody who has a certain amount of money that they actually pull background checks on women. They actually have to know the family that they're going to deal with. I mean, I think for men, we need to really pay attention to what the woman wants in life and what they're going to do. And that means that you just can't knock down every hole that you see. I mean, let's be honest. Especially for young fellas like you, good-looking young dudes here, if a woman is an athlete, a woman wants to do something in life, chances are she's not just going to get knocked up for no reason. Right. If a woman if you're the best thing in this person's life, then why the hell would she let you go? You know, it just doesn't make sense. I mean, and you can really see how this works. If you live overseas, like one of the funniest things when I go to the back country to some of these places, and you see these big houses in the middle of nowhere, and they say, "Oh, her boyfriend's a Westerner, and that's what he got her." You see what I mean? Yeah. And so I know it's a different dichotomy because we're in the West, but if you look at it, you can almost mirror it. Yes, this man, if she can have Drake's baby, she gonna have about $2.53 million off the bat. Like 50 Cent said, have a baby. I'll write the check before you get here. Be a millionaire. They believe in all that dumb shit. And so we have to truly understand for every man here who you're spending time with. And do I think that a vasectomy would change the dynamics of a relationship? Absolutely not, because half of the men ain't gonna tell them any damn way.
That's facts. And one of the things I also want to mention, because like you also hear this in the manosphere being preached out a lot, and I personally don't agree with this. I think if she has a degree or whatnot, doesn't make her, you know, less manageable or material or not. You know, the ego is there. That's there for a lot of women who have that, and even for a lot of men too. But I don't think it makes her any less marriageable. But we see this kind of being discussed in the manosphere, where if she has certain things like the pedigree and she's got the degrees and whatnot, right? You know, if she has something to lose, she's not worth, you know, dating. Men would rather want the lady who would drop everything and come to them. Now, not saying there's anything wrong with that, because there are women that would, but it's just saying that is it better to start dating people who have something almost on the same footing as you, like a reputation, some kind of thing to like to that, hey, I could be looked at silly out here if I'll get caught doing something this dumb. If someone caught me trying to take condom out of a bag or out of a trash and then insert it into myself, what would that look for me? Like if Oprah did that shit.
Well, it comes back to, are you?
Oh God!
Are you
real Oprah?
Okay. No, but let's say somebody more hot than Oprah did that, but she was known, right? Like let's say Adele, right? Somebody like Adele would. I just did it because she was famous and supposed to be modest looking, right? So I just thought about Oprah just doing that.
Oprah, baby.
But if someone like Adele or something like that, right? Adele was trying to. If they came on the news, Adele trying to baby trap a dude, how crazy would that sound? Like real talk, you think she'd be more likely to do that? No, not really. So I just want to know if there's some point to that. Duke's Hairline, shout out to you. Thank you for the $10 super chat. He says vasectomy, the longer it has been, the less likely the reversal will work. Drake has been eco-friendly. If it's yellow, let it be mellow. Take a poll of what Taco Bell sauce he uses. Diablo. Hey, first of all, we got to know if that shit works. All right, we gotta know if that shit, if hot sauce makes for a good spermicide.
I ain't playing with that.
And if it does, then we'll check out the Diablo blend of hot sauce. Hey, Christian, shout out to you. Welcome to the stream, brother. What's good? I gotta ask you this question like I did everybody else. All right, flush or no flush? What is the answer?
I say flush easily. You know what I mean? Because like once you actually try to come up in there in the condom, and if it's out there anywhere else where it comes live, you lose at that point. So obviously, you gotta like try and flush it down very quickly, or what you can try to do is have her literally like suck you off or jack you off and make her swallow the whole cum, and then you're still good. I mean, I'd be like a lot better.
That is a more efficient method. I agree with that a whole heart. Hey, some of you ladies who agree with that method, you guys are heroes, and I want to salute you.
But what if she? What if she just spits it right back out though? Like,
hey, honestly, hey, guy talk for a second, guys. Guy talk for a second. I low-key kind of get mad when a girl does that.
You know,
I look kind of. I'm like, why you do that?
But anytime
But I get it. I get it.
Drake's coming, it's like anxiety popping up. You know, like it's like so anxious you can't even try to feel what's going on because you don't know what's gonna happen like really down the line. That's what really has me concerned, especially with today. You know, that's like one of the big main reasons why I ended up being up in the mainstream today with like the Kevin Samuels and Preston Fitz and all the other guys here because you're trying to actually better yourself and actually try to be a better person and be better knowledgeable about the situation that you're in so you don't get burned. And that's what it's basically about.
That's true. Protection.
I think we're all missing the point here, though.
Oh, yeah,
I think the point here it should be what should happen to that girl, yo. Yeah. That's the point should be here, man. Like because Drake did everything right, bro. Like what else can that man do, yo? Besides not come.
No. Drake dropped the ball on this one.
How?
Really? This is interesting.
Here's his mess up. If you have to think to put hot sauce in the condom with the girl you just slept in because you think she's gonna baby trap you, you effed up. You slept with the wrong girl.
What I was saying,
come on. What you right?
He don't got time to be listen. He made to get at the party.
But then it falls back on your point though, Primal, because you said that you had said that like with someone like Drake, him being high value, of course girls are gonna do that whole baby trap because he's Drake.
So just hire a pro. Just hire a pro if that's what he wants to do.
Let me ask you this: do you think that Drake got time to be really betting girls like that? Come on, man.
Before the billions, let's get your thoughts on this. What do you stand on this? Like, matter of fact, I want to start with you before the billions, and then we'll kind of go around. Who do you think actually won that debate between that little debate between Kevin Samuels and lead attorney? Right? Who had more of a point? Was it Kevin Samuels? Because the chat overwhelmingly and myself lean towards Kevin Samuels, even though I'm team flush. All right, I still lean towards Kevin Samuels because I don't think Drake should bear as much responsibility as a woman, even though he took responsibility to not have that situation happen. So what are your thoughts?
Right, I say Kevin Samuels. I put it in the chat as well. I was like Kevin Samuels all the way, and I agree with the flush, but I also agree with Kevin Samuels in the fact that if Kevin add in that last part where he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna give her that money and then just take custody." You know, at the end, like he won at the end. So I think that was a great point.
No, yeah, I love Kevin Samuels' point about taking custody because if you're gonna play stupid games, well, stupid prizes, you don't get to see your kid. It's gonna go to the millionaire parent who can take care of it all. Because why would some IG model, and we know most of y'all living situations ain't the greatest, all right? Why would you then be the one being able to take care of the child where somebody can put him in the best schools overseas, right? Being cultured, all of it. He can really just show this kid the life, and he doesn't even have to be around for it. Now, obviously, as a father, you should be, right? But he has the resources to be able to do all of that. Why should you get the kid? I mean, it just goes to show you how confident women feel in their modern day delusion that they can just do this and expect that the outcome will be that it will be default to them to be taken care of. And that show goes to your earlier point, Grover. Like this wouldn't happen if this was in another country where women didn't have as many opportunities. And by opportunities, I mean the economical conditions weren't great. First, a third world country, right? You're not going to do this in a third world country, just try to, baby trap people. You're going to be a little bit more cautious because if the governments aren't really as talk about social and taking you, they're not like that. It's like, hey, you on your own. Like that's what it is. So if women are gonna be on their own, they're more and less likely to take that risk, right? But obviously in this country, women feel a certain level of security to be able to indulge in risky behavior because that's risky. Taking some content from some dude you just met out of a trash can and put it in yourself without bypassing all those protections, that's insane. Go ahead.
Not to mention nasty.
Yeah,
it is nasty. Yeah. And let me say this right quick too: is that Drake has dated famous women in the past. I mean, like famous, well-established women. I mean, like why go down on your standards? You know what I mean?
That's true. That's true, and that's the kind of conversation we need to have, man. Like
because he's Drake, man.
Yeah, that's true. But all this nonsense about like high value women, or I won't say high value, but like women who are, trying to make their way up that ladder, they're not as important. Maybe instead of dating that broke McDonald's chick, if you're a rich dude, maybe you start looking at that chick who's a CFO, but she still looks, she looks tight. Maybe you start considering that because she's more or less like the baby trap. I don't know.
Yeah,
we don't know.
He messed with Rihanna and then, bro. He messed with Rihanna. He messed with Serena Williams. So obviously.
Yeah, I'm sure he probably tossed the condom in the trash with the hot sauce in it too. I'm sure he probably did that. None of them came
I just
out
don't buy that story, dog. That shit just sound crazy.
He hasn't. I don't think Drake has made a statement on it yet, though.
Yeah.
Like
I'll
you don't
say
need
this
to have
much,
like
if you're-
a little lock box. As soon as he buzzed one, he should have put on the lock box.
But okay, so what do you think about lead attorney's larger point where he's basically saying like Drake's seed is worth like $4 million, right?
Probably worth more.
Yeah, definitely worth. Oh, yeah, definitely more. I mean, that's at the base minimum, $20,000 a month.
I think it's way more than that.
If Drake owns his publishing, his seed could be worth $4 or $5 million in perpetuity for the next 25, 30 years. If you're just talking about owning his music publishing,
God damn.
So when I tell you people that you people, oh my God, I turned into some weirdo. When I say to folks that this is the best thing that happened to her, then I mean it, because look at what she went through. So I mean, I'm not shooting her bail, but what I'm saying is that as a man who understands that, you know, and I've been in, look, I ain't no Drake, but I've been in situations where I'm like, you know what, this is too good to be true. You are too fine to be acting this way with me.
Yeah.
And you want to do too much too quick. That's just a red flag. I would rather, once I get to a certain point in life, make sure, because I have wealth and property that I need to protect, I need to make sure that I know something about this person.
That's true.
And I mean, we have to get out of this weird situation in our minds that, you know, as men, yes, we want to spread our seed, right? We want to hit as many as we can. But once you become an adult and you have some value, you have to understand, especially in this country, that it means that by spreading your seed, that you're financially culpable. And so like in this country, if a woman takes a condom out of the garbage can and the government comes looking at you, in different countries they do that, the government goes looking at her like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah,
and
like
so
you're crazy.
I have to understand that. As far as who won the debate, though, I mean, Kevin Samuels,
I gotta ask you, Grover, what you
Kevin
thought?
Samuels won the debate. You know,
Hey, so we're not crazy. I gotta ask Christian, and I gotta ask Primal, and then Poppy. But so far, before the billions, Grover Reese and myself, all three of us right now, we're Team Kevin Samuels right now. All right, and I'm a flusher. I flush right now, guys. Okay, I'm a flusher. Okay, so I'm agreeing with Kevin Samuels because yes, even though Drake he went about it poorly, he still took the proper precautions to try to protect his seed. You can't say he didn't. He used it as a deterrent. So she undid it and did it to herself. That's like saying, like I said, I always liken it to the you know that chick with the super glue in the hair and shit. Y'all remember her?
Yeah,
lady. I ain't liking it to that.
Gorilla
right?
Glue?
Look what happened. I think she got a settlement out of that.
Yeah.
And she got famous off of that. All the clout she got off it. You think she learned her lesson? No. No. And it got more inspired, more copycats to do that. So when I hear Kevin Samuels talking about, hey, we need to stop this because more and more people, it's going to inspire them to do this. I'm like, yeah. So we need to hold her responsible somehow. If we're not going to legally hold her responsible, which I don't believe she should go to jail. Some of y'all, I see y'all are harsh. Like, just lock her up. Okay. We can treat it like we should treat any other fraud cases, right? And say, hey, you pay a major fine for doing this. All right, and then on top of that, some kind of punishment with the child. I think that's hard enough. First of all, burning your crotch, we'll consider that time served.
but I do think that there's some legal action because there was theft. She took something out of his house without his permission, regardless of what's going on in your house, regardless if you throw it in your garbage can or not. You're not allowed to take some. Hey, I can drop a diamond ring in my garbage can on an accident. If you find it in my garbage can in my bedroom, are you allowed to take that out?
Yeah. Right. And Grover, to further solidify your point, it is only when you actually put it out in a public area that you actually is public domain. Mm-hmm. So if it's in the trash can, it doesn't matter as long as it's inside your house. If you put it outside, then that's another thing.
I agree, and Kevin Samuels did make that preference initially. He made that starting, and that's why I had you guys pay attention to it, right? I told y'all, listen, we break down everything, including arguments, man. We break it down so you guys have a clear understanding. When he broke down his initial argument when he was framing it, that's what he said. If it's outside my house and I toss it out there, anyone can get access to it. That's fine. It's basically just like when people put their furniture out on the curb, right? When you put your furniture out on the curb, what are you signifying? You're signifying, okay, well, shit. I'm done with it.
And honestly,
right?
depending on
somebody
the
come in your house and take the furniture out of your goddamn. You kept it next to your trash, but come in. Hey, listen, I know you. I saw through your window. You about to throw that away. It's sitting right there. I'm gonna just come in here and grab it. Like, that's a problem. Because not only you trespassing, you do a whole lot of extra shit just to get the dude's stuff, right? But if you put it outside, you can come by, drive by, throw that in your trunk, and keep going. And none of that knows me the wiser. So I agree with that.
Technically, in some states, even if the trash is on your property, they can't go through it. So I mean, we have to be very honest with that. And I know everyone says that there's not a way that can happen, that the laws can be changed. But I don't think there'll be a law in the book, but there can be a precedent through a court case set in that way. Yeah. So there could be a precedent, just like Roe versus Wade. It's not a law; it's a precedent. It's a legal precedent that's set. And so that's the only thing I can say.
Duke's hairline, shout out for 2,000. You people, Grover, what the fuck? LOL, rhythm method.
What do you mean, you people?
Shit. What do you mean, you people? All right, Christian, who do you think won this debate between Kevin Samuels and the lead attorney? All right, are you leaning towards Kevin Samuel, or leaning towards lead attorney?
I honestly didn't even watch the whole debate. I just came by to actually just spoke the whole experience about it. I don't even need to see the whole debate to see what the heck.
Hey, shit, you got us to break it down for you. Catch our show.
Actually, you have to literally try to flush it down, or if you actually try and come by and put in like a public trash can, that'd be better too. But as long as you make sure that you're not vulnerable, which is like the most important thing.
So let me frame it this way then. So okay, so Kevin Samuels' argument was basically saying, okay, it doesn't matter if you throw it in the trash or not. If it's inside your house and this is the method of disposal that you want to use, this is your method to take care of, your content, right? Then you are within your right to put hot sauce in it and toss it in the trash. All right. Absolutely. The attorney is more on the lines of, hey, wait a minute. It doesn't matter if you throw it in the trash. All right. If anything, it's illegal if you go ahead and mix your content up with that and then toss it in the trash, because it could be looked at as booby trapping, right? So who do you think is in that situation, that scenario, is in the right? Kevin Samuels or lead attorney?
Even though
that's just a brief summary of their points, all right?
Yeah,
they go deeper than that, but just for
even though like the lead attorney is well versed in family court and divorce and everything, he's well familiar. I gotta go with Kev, man. I literally gotta go with him because you're going.
There's another one.
Mixing stuff in his trash, that's his right. Now, if it's in a public space, that's different. But if it's his stuff, or it's within his condom, and she leaves and he puts his stuff in there, and she gets that's him trying to slip something in there. Because it actually leaves on the dry up, she's getting buried. That's to try and get the number one seed out because they're literally hunting. You gotta do anything that you can to protect yourself by any means. If you have to literally try and stick some mixture, as long as it's not poisonous, even if it's some bleach. I haven't seen anything like that before. But as long as you do anything you can to actually try to protect yourself and not get vulnerable. That's the number one thing you have to worry about.
And this was the most important thing that Kevin Samuels pointed out too as well, right? Because we also have to start when we have to have serious conversations about this. We need to this right here is bringing up a serious point, because up until then, we've all known that baby trapping via that method that young lady just proved, it happens all the time to average dudes.
Yes,
it happens to average dude. You ain't got to be Drake, lead attorney, for it to happen to you. If a woman sees you as valuable enough and she wants your seed, she will try to get the seed either by tricking you and telling you that she's pregnant, all right, and then all of a sudden, let's make up and have sex.
$600.
Listen, there are all these tricks in the books that we already know exist, but guys are silent because we don't have these discussions. So the man is here as a way for us to actually open up this dialogue and say, okay, well, what should actually be the consequences for stuff like that should happen? Should we just keep going with the common consensus of, okay, letting women just get away with baby trapping us like they have been for years? Or do we finally start saying, okay, maybe we should start collectively as manosphere, as men who are sick of this kind of behavior going along, start to actually push our local officials or something like that to actually start getting some kind of resolution done for not just guys like Drake, but all these other men out here this is happening to, all right? Start giving some kind of consequences for women. I'm not saying that we're going to start locking them up and all that nonsense. I actually personally don't agree with that. But basically saying, hey, we're gonna state fine, okay, we'll charge you enough where it hurts the pockets, right? State fine if you decide to basically do this kind of fraud, because Grover Reach, you're right, this is fraud. That was crazy. He's pathetic. Man, that's crazy. He's trying to get dude down. Hey,
man, I'm sorry for that guy. I'm sorry.
No, yeah, he can tell he's not getting any box. That's crazy. But anyways. Oh, by the way, hey guys. So what this dude just did? Hold up, let me do some stuff real quick. Hang on. While you guys talking much yourself, let me go handle some stuff real quick. Go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to bring this up, man. Is that what if she actually like waits until like a trash day comes out, he throws out his trash, and she tries to run after the trash people, trying to say, "Hey, wait a second, let me get that specific trash bag so that way I can get that condom out."
That could happen.
Yeah.
Man, like people don't got like this, especially the rich guys. It seems like they don't got rules to protect them at all, though.
Well, Drake. I'll say Drake was well within his rights. He can destroy whatever he wants to in his home. He can do whatever he wants like that in his house. He can pour bleach on stuff. Hey man, I'm just destroying my property. I'm in every, like, if I get a bucket of mop water, right, and I pour some bleach in there and I'm gonna clean something, and then somebody comes in and they decide to drink out of the mop bucket, is that my fault?
Absolutely not.
So how
crazy,
is this
bro.
any different than that? Yeah.
And you look at this even for a separate way. If Drake,
I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut the stream right now, and I'm gonna take it completely off, and then what we'll do is we'll have an edited version of this particular stream on again. We'll go live, but we just got
that's probably a smart thing to do, man.
Guys, go hit the like, subscribe button. All right, you already see Dukendon is under fire right now. So if you guys want to see more of us, hit the like button, hit that sub button. All right, and we'll be back with more videos. With that being said, peace.